again, floating through the silence in my cold skin. My body is wearing thin. My fears tell me I'll never win. My body is wearing thin. And there's darkness here, the whole world I fear. In my room I seem to drown, but I won't let them take me down. I won't let them take me down. I won't let them take me down, down, I'll rise and I'll fall again, fighting off the violence in my cold skin. My body is wearing thin. My fears tell me I'll never win. My body is wearing thin. And there's darkness here, the whole world I fear. In my room I seem to drown, but I won't let them take me down. I won't let them take me down. I won't let them take me down, down,
Oh man. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Blood in the Streets Dota 2 Championship, brought to you guys by firstblood.io and Antlion Audio. And right as the game was about to start, something went wrong with the lobby and everybody got disconnected, but I think we've fixed it. Joining me today is Skim Gaming and Dragon Drop Dota. I'm the Source. How are you guys doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing fine here, apart from having some communication difficulties, because at least Elusage, he seems to be muted or something, because he had to add me to a party to tell me that they want first pick. But yeah, it's a bit weird, and the lobby seems to be breaking again. So
Oh my. Alright, well.
just gonna try and make sure that everyone's loaded in.
I was loaded in. It's not me. It's not me.
Yeah, doesn't appear to be any of us, but in the meantime, plenty has happened since the last time we were here. We took a break, as many of you all know, and we went through all the TI qualifiers. What did you guys think of the results? Planet Dog making it all the way through. I was actually surprised by them.
Yeah, I think Planet Dog definitely surprised a lot of people. Obviously, we had them at in this tournament, right? And I think both Dragon Drop and I both thought that they were really strong going into this qualifier. I personally actually favored Singularity over them, but I think once they got to the playoffs, Planet Dog looked that much stronger. Overall, I think most results I should have expected in this qualifier. I guess Faceless not making it is a bit of a surprise to everybody. But I think if you look towards every other region, I think pretty much the expected teams made it.
Yeah, Planet Dog really came out. I mean, it seems like Swift Ending is a much better fit as a Carol player than Gata was. And yeah, even with all the issues that they had in the last team, seem to be resolved in this new iteration. So I think that's kind of played into it, gave them that extra bit of a boost that they needed for Planet Dog. That is, but yeah, we're talking about Singularity as well. They did end up with a 7-2 scoreline, just behind Secret, so they came in out of the groups pretty dominantly. But then they couldn't make any headway in the best of threes. Alright, we're still not getting the lobby started.
that is the
Don't
fourth.
tell me
That is
what
the
you
fourth lobby break. Fifth time is clearly the charm.
Yeah.
Always try remaking the lobby, I suppose.
Yeah, I think a lobby remake is in order.
Mm-mm.
Do we know, like, is this a common bug? Or is it someone
Not
just...
really. I think someone's just not loading.
Yeah, I think so too. Somebody's just not loading.
I'll
Well-
just try one last time, but then maybe the Chinese cafe. Yeah, that's a good point. But I don't know.
They've never had trouble before. So...
Yeah, normally it's fixed after like 1 or 2 restarts.
We're holding strong.
Right.
That's
While
okay.
we're loading into all of this, it might be worth noting that we have a little bit of a change here. Angie Cyber, or Cyber Angie, of course, they did drop their roster. So that's why we have Box or Anime Pro Boxa, whatever, here. But they're also playing without Yoko. Yoko's taking a break from competitive Dota, and they're having a stand. They're using a stand-in in Afterlife from Vega Squadron.
Yo, I blame Afterlife. Throwing him under the bus. He's the one not connecting. Clearly,
So Chinese Caster
clearly.
says he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, we're making
it's got to be Afterlife. He's the only person here who is not like the others. he's never been in the part of this tournament. The Chinese casters have never had trouble.
Trying
is-
new
that
lobbies,
is my
see if that
belief.
fixes
Same
things.
password?
Yeah.
Same password.
Is it? Which one is it? Oh God.
All right, you should have probably named it differently.
I'm sure it's fine.
Uh.
It's the one with no players in it yet.
Okay.
Well, that's difficult because probably the others already left, you know?
Well, there was one with people trickling out of it. I'm assuming I'm in the right one.
Yeah, you're on the right one.
I added new into the name.
I just my bar hadn't shown us all that. So yeah, what do you think? You know, obviously leaving the organization doesn't really do much, but a roster change is fairly significant. I mean, you know, we're post TI qualifiers, so it's not unsurprising that teams will start to make their changes now. At least those that feel they really need to make a change. I mean, granted, this is a stand-in, so it's a little bit different, but what do you guys think this will do to some of their play?
Well, the thing is, Yoku has been a very vocal player in previous teams that he's been in. I'm not sure how vocal he was in Cyberangi, but odds are he was quite the, you know, maybe not necessarily the leader or the captain, but maybe some sort of like secondary shot caller. So this, I imagine, does hurt them a little bit, but in terms of individual skill, I think Afterlife is probably just as capable, if not more capable. Just because Yoku, for the place, Lasash just joined the lobby and left again. You might need to add new to the beginning of the because the lobby thing doesn't actually show up the entire.
Yeah, I think
Like
they're
lobby name.
joining the lobby and thinking it's the wrong lobby, and then
Yeah.
leaving the lobby and then rejoining the lobby. We've got one player. Maybe this will be enough.
Hopefully. Anyway, yeah, I think Afterlife is actually probably stronger offlaner right now. Yoku hasn't looked really strong for a while now, and well, again, if anything, I think the fact that CyberNG looked really weak in the qualifier hurts them more. So then the fact that they changed the player, I imagine they're not really as motivated, or you know, might not be. I mean, you could argue the same thing for Singularity, but I think Singularity as a team, they've stuck together for longer. I think they'll be able to cope with the fact that they didn't qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a 50-50 after a major qualifier in any game, whether or not a team rallies harder because this is their best chance at any kind of money or results, you know, post going into something like TI. Because TI is very unique in comparison to pretty much all of the other major esports, and most of the minors, is that its timing is not at the end of the year when you compare it to some of the other games that have their world championships towards the later half of the year. And on top of that, it's probably the only singular world championship, because in CS:GO you have multiple majors and those have invites, but in Dota you have like one world championship and those invites matter, and staying together matters as a team, and like, you know, it kind of, you know, there are other Dota events that are going to go on through the later half of the year.
Right.
So you know, whether this is like a 2-month break for teams essentially, but you know, is Singularity really have enough juice to keep going past this?
The thing also in Dota is that we have fewer LAN events, fewer like big events, and in CS:GO you have a lot of LAN events. You have prize pools which are considered high because their highest prize pool is of course the major with like 1 million, right? So you have a lot of high quality events, you know, all over the world happening at the same time. In most cases even you have like LAN events week after week after week, and you have always different teams, and you have like a very vivid and very successful tier 2 scene. You know, tier 2 teams that would probably not even be like top 15 in the world, but more so like top 20, top 25, could still attend those LAN events and make a living out of this. Whereas, you know, teams like Singularity, like CyberAngie, if they don't make it to like one LAN event or like a Valve event, it's probably never really going to happen for them. So this is definitely very important for them going forward. Planet Dog, they, you know, that just because they qualified, they will have a lot of sponsors approaching them now going forward, and possibly have potential afterwards to either join new teams or maybe stick together and then, you know, have like a proper contract. Whereas for these teams that don't make it, they just sort of get left in the streets, I guess.
Yeah, one major win does start to set you apart.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of the nature of pretty much every game that isn't League right now. I mean,
League is an entirely different beast.
Yeah, League sits in its own little corner, unlike the rest of esports. Because, you know, I've been getting much more into fighting games, following that and learning about those scenes. Don't plan on commentating fighting games anytime soon, but, you know, paying attention and watching it, you see that although an individual win matters a lot, it sets you apart for the year. You know, you can sustain a lot less victories than you could in another game. Yeah. And we finally have the draft. We figured out the lobby shenanigans.
Just as the last sort of like add-on to all of this, this is why I love tournaments like this, and not to, you know, pat ourselves on the shoulder and, you know, be like a sellout or anything. But
shameless plug.
But yeah, let's call it a shameless plug. But tournaments like these, they give these teams the opportunity to prove themselves, to get a lot of experience, and even to earn a little money on the side. And, you know, again, Team Singularity, CyberAngie, Planet Dog, we all saw these teams in this tournament before we even saw them in the qualifier, and that's why we felt comfortable, you know, predicting even Singularity or Planet Dog as some sort of like upset potential in the qualifier, because we knew, all right, these teams aren't just tier 2; they are actually really strong. So I think it's really important to have tournaments like this, and I hope that going forward that, you know, we'll stick around, because again, good format, good teams, good Dota.
Yep. Hopefully this time around as well, as we finally get into game number 1 with the draft here between Singularity and XNG APB. I have no idea what this name actually means. I just know that it contains anime, which will tilt half of your base, I'm pretty sure. But
I think what they're going for is Anime Pro Boxer, but it's like Bosca, I think it was what I was told. I was also thrown that logo that we had in the pause screen like probably an hour before we got going. And I mean, you know, I see at least one. Yeah, so No Fear's character icon, for those of you who don't know, actually, so is Chuvash's. Those are both from the, like, one of like the boxing animes. I think it's the only boxing anime of the last 10 years, and it's actually older than that, if I remember correctly. It started in the early 90s.
Oh yeah,
and
what's the
has
name?
gone
What's
for
the name?
years. Like the manga started something like in the early '90s or the '80s. It's gone a long time. I'd have to look it up. I'll look it up while we're in game and hit you guys with that knowledge later.
As much as I would love to discuss boxing animes,
It's
I think we.
but it's like it's an old one. Like this is old on the
Oh, it's
level of
really
like
old, yeah.
Pokemon old, on the level
No,
of
like Dragon Ball old.
well, yeah, Dragon Ball old. Like this is some ancient stuff, and as far as I know, it's still going. I could be wrong. Anyways, we've got some Dota.
You do your research. We talk about Dota in the meantime. Queen of Pain first pick here by Team Singularity. Nyx Assassin Disruptor as the counter picks more or less here from EPB, and those are pretty good counter picks here to Queen of Pain, who's a mobile hero like that. You can glimpse her back, you can catch in a static storm from a Disruptor. Nyx Assassin can scout her out. You have that mana burn available, so APB already setting themselves up to counter out that co-op and just have a solution to play around this hero. And by picking up some heroes that aren't necessarily locking them into like one particular play style or something like that.
Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah, I just looked that up, and it was 1989. That's how old this is.
I tried,
older than
guys. I
me.
tried to
This
keep
show
them
is
away from this
older than
topic.
I
I'm
am.
sorry.
Older than me. Anyway, yeah, draft pretty. I want to say pretty standard. Singularity. I think one of the few, or not necessarily one of the few teams. It's gotten really popular now, but one of the first teams that I noticed, really prioritize the co-op early on instead of say like a third or fourth pick. Nisha, of course, is one of the is a very capable Queen of Pain player. Treant Protector. It's actually interesting if you look at the TI qualifiers and look at the heroes that were most picked. Treant Protector doesn't actually make the cut. He's sort of phased out a little bit. It adds obviously to the fact that he's banned a lot of the times, but still, the hero is definitely not as popular as he used to be, and it certainly does help that he was nerfed.
Yeah, it's more of a kind of a niche pick. He still does what he does, right? That's what it comes down to when any heroes change. Really, Ice Frog is never going to nerf the thing that makes the hero like unique and powerful. They're always going to take away like things on the fringes to a point where where teams are starting to look for other heroes that haven't gotten that same treatment yet. But yeah, Treant Protector will still keep your towers up alive and kicking for the longest time. You still have these roots available, so and it can be quite powerful, right? Especially if you have heroes that have some good AoE abilities that like having a setup like that. But they have to deal with the Venomancer now. So.
Yeah, Venomancer, a very popular carry these days as well.
Yeah.
It's just overall very annoying to deal with. He just provides your team with a lot of sort of stability. He's like a very solid farmer. He can push very safely, and overall just builds into pretty much. He can pretty much build into any item you need as a team. There's definitely been some Venomancer item builds. I think we actually casted one where there was like what was it, like a Heaven's Halberd, Solar Crescent, all those sort of like utility items that really just Venomancer, because he doesn't really need much. He needs the Veil of Discord, and that's pretty much it. After that, you can build any item you want on him, and he's still going to be effective. And that's sort of like one of his strengths. But it is, of course, also notable though that even though he has been picked quite a lot and he's become rather popular, he's also not a carry in a sense, right? Because he is more of a utility core. That is one of his weaknesses. You kind of need to play him in a core position, but he doesn't really. He's not going to 1v5 carry your team.
Yeah.
So that's one of the big weaknesses to look out for.
The Venomancer does present you with the opportunity to go for very strong timing, because if you put him in this core position, you're gonna get levels very quickly. That means you're gonna get to these level 4 wards very, very fast. And like 10 to 15 minutes in, the enemy team just more often than not just can't deal with them. So if you have like a minute or so to set up for tower push, with like wards after wards, like I think you can get 6 or 7 wards out simultaneously before the first one expires again. That's something that you can't really deal with. So it secures yourself these towers, which is also important to get up against the Treant Protector. Just sustain pushes so that that the Treant doesn't get a chance to heal him up again. And this is what the Venomancer gives you. Then you can come in with this ridiculous amount of magical damage in a team fight as well. And if you then have a right clicker out of the mid lane to just show up these differences, you can end the games quite comfortably here before the 30-35 minute mark. This is generally the way that you want to run these Venomances. But Team Singularity, if they can survive that timing, then they're actually in a pretty good spot because they got themselves a Drow up together with the Queen of Pain, so it's some good right-click damage there. And they've also got to keep up the light. Once this guy hits the Aghanim Scepter, probably a mechanism maybe before that as well, you have these heals to deal with damage over time for the Venomancer.
Yep. This is going to be difficult though for both teams. I think both teams have a lot of push, but neither team has really strong deep push. You could argue, of course, you have to keep it light. You know, it's a strong deep push. Now with the Mirana, it's definitely I think sort of sufficient. But Keeper of the Light doesn't really do anything against the Venom Awards, so that is definitely an issue. They have 4 ranged heroes that sort of can deal with them, but like you pointed out earlier, once they hit this level 4, they're quite tanky, those wards. So that is definitely something to look out for, and something that could potentially be an issue going forward. But Bloodseeker pickup, we've seen it a lot in the qualifier, has become very popular in Southeast Asia and CIS. Not exactly surprised to see it overall, but maybe a little bit here because I don't think it necessarily synergizes that well with his own team. Well, I guess there's some synergies with the Disruptor because he provides vision over some targets, but overall,
I'm just waiting for the Blood Rage Venomancer after he got his put off. Because it does work. You can apply it and then you can Blood Rage afterwards and then you still do the extra damage.
Quite
no,
disgusting.
I can't play Battle Cup right now. God damn it. This always happens. Every time I cast, I get invited to stacks and whatnot.
Same.
Anyway, what do you make of this Tidehunter anyway? The big melon. How's that gonna play in? Because normally it's a very fringe hero, just because teams tend to undervalue this ultimate because it's on such a long cooldown.
We've seen it a little bit in the qualifier. It is just one of those heroes that you pick up when you wanna. How should I put it? It's like a very safe pick. You know, it's the kind of hero that you resort to once you're when you have your backs to the wall. He's like a very safe pick that can do a lot of good things. You know, he can go for those utility items with the mech, with the pipe, Crimson Guard even. He's just a team fight hero. You can always fall back and group up and then take a team fight with Tidehunter. You don't want to fight into Tidehunter. That's why he's a good hero and strong hero. And in this game, I think he helps his team a lot because they will likely push with the Venomancer together. They don't really, Bloodseeker and Nyx Assassin, they have pickup potential, but ultimately this lineup sort of thrives in team fighting, I think. And then taking on Singularity as 5 heroes, I think with the Tidehunter is pretty strong. Sure, they sort of group themselves around these big ultimates, but I think with the Venomancer Awards and with the Bloodseeker, they'll still be able to sort of still get things done while those ultimates are on cooldown. So
yeah,
I think this lineup is actually pretty nice, but I would probably still favor Singularity at this point.
Yeah, overall I would say as well, just because they have a very strong lineup. Come late game, right? You have the Corp who's very mobile, and there's not a whole lot of hard lockdown on the side of APB, apart from, I guess, the Disruptor and the Nyx Assassin when you can get on top of her. But eventually, you'll have enough tankiness to withstand some of that. And then you have the Drow Ranger, right? The game can accelerate so fast if this hero gets off to a decent start, even with an almost all range lineup. So yeah. Interested to see how this works out, though, because it can definitely go either way with the timings that we're talking about for this draft.
And what I will say, what is going in APB's favor is the fact that these heroes on Singularity side are all super squishy. If the Bloodseeker gets out of control, he can in pretty much any stages of the game, he'll be able to probably kill everybody on Singularity side. Maybe he'll have some issues with a level 25 Queen Pain, but up until then, I'm very confident that if he has a good time, he will be able to sort of pick him off whenever he pleases. And I think this is definitely an issue on Singularity side. But Arrow? Is it going to connect? No.
Not quite, but it will chase them away, so Dora still gets mini rooted. A couple of right clicks here to keep him away, and a Kinetic Field even forced out from No Fear.
A lot of damage.
That was, yeah.
The battle
Let's
he
secure
wasn't-
that extra bounty rune.
If he wasn't that carry, I'd say he'd need to go back to base and heal up, but he cannot miss out on this experience right now.
Well, he's 8 tangos, so he can start munching through
Right,
some of them, but
yeah.
no salve or anything to get you instantly back up to full. Yeah, with this aggro tri-lane, he's not kind of a fun time against this, is he?
Nope. Well, this is actually a pretty good laning stage for Singularity. The Mirana, by the way, it's Nisha on the Mirana. They did give Patos the Queen of Pain. But overall, yeah, I'd say quite a solid laning stage. Maybe Mirana might have a little bit of an issue because Mirana is just not the strongest laner. But overall, Patos should sort of be safe by with Tidehunter and Nyx Assassin here. Sure, he gets harassed, but he can always blink out.
Yeah. It's like technically an offlane Queen of Pain, or like offlane in a safe lane kind of deal. And that's
Was
something
there
that...
a banana on the ground? There was
yeah,
a banana on the
there's some
ground.
bananas. Venomancer has a banana taunt.
Oh, that's a taunt.
That's a
I've
taunt,
never
yeah.
seen that.
It's so
Are there-
obnoxious, actually, but yeah.
TPing the Nyx Assassin up. Oh, this might actually
Oh,
be
no
first
fear.
blood.
He's actually gonna drop so low. The punch is going to be enough, even though Chivash comes in and at least secure the counter kill on Castle, but well, damage has already been done. So
Yeah.
only the 2 supports just punching and blasting him out.
Well, it is a disruptor with only 1 armor against a train protector who deals 91
Yeah.
damage. So good luck, my friend. Even with the Nyx Assassin rotating up here, I don't really see this tri-lane succeeding. If anything, they can sort of mitigate a little bit of the damage, but what are they going to do if, Keeper of the Light just uses his Illuminate like this, and Cedo is still getting zoned out. He's down to 2 tangos.
Well, what else do you do at this point? I mean, you have Gale level 1, so you can't even go back into the jungle and slowly start to farm up the creeps like that with the wards.
Yeah, I wonder if they should just give him that level 2 and then let him fall back, or maybe even switch lanes and then sort of like sack somebody else here, because otherwise they're just going to feed away these 2 supports. See, oh, no fear. Could have gone down.
This is just free harassment, half damage without any sort of counter traits in terms of health points or anything.
Yeah. And Drawing just farming away freely. No
Yeah.
contestation. Oh, he's still not going for Plague Wards, so he wants to stay in this lane. Which I think is a bold move, because I'm not sure they're really going to get that much here. I guess what they're doing is keeping the 2 supports in this lane. But at the same time, Singularity has accounted for this. They deliberately picked 2 heroes that can stand 1v1 against other heroes, or potentially even 1v2.
Queen of Pain, I mean, Patos is not necessarily winning this lane right now, but he's starting to. And at the very least, he's getting enough out of this lane that it's that you can that you can afford him being alone down here. Nisha, at the same time in mid, he's having some more issues because, well, he's up against a Bloodseeker. It's very hard to harass, but yeah.
Oh, he might actually get the kill.
Okay, he
Yep.
did. I did not quite expect that, but hey.
Yeah, Pikachu tried to go for the regen onto the creep. He was a bit greedy. He was getting very, very low, but
is under attack.
oh,
Something
it's not
against
gonna...
Doi. Don't quite get the route to start with. Nice little slow on 2, which will keep Katsu away.
Oh,
And
that was so close.
Yeah, really, really. One more right click would have done the trick.
Fortunately for Patos, he did die down here, but I think it's actually fine. It's I mean, or rather, it's not that bad. He still has the draw range aura, so he's catching up into his CS now, and they can't really reliably kill him all the time. They had to invest quite a little bit, and that was also because he was pretty much low on mana or had no mana at all. So overall, I still think he's pretty fine. No fear, down to 90 HP again.
Oh man. Look at these 2 supports, little Sash and Castle, just hunting for him in the back.
Yeah, Celo's falling back into the jungle. He picked up an Iron Talon. He does not want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't have Plague Wards yet. That's a bit awkward.
This is gonna be extremely slow. That's for damn sure. Well, if they do end up finding no fear, it's an easy kill.
If they find him, that's for sure. Oh, they're gonna make the rotation. Titan's going top.
Oh, he's level 4.
I'd say
Just
it
a
was
little
like
bit
2
too
minutes
late, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, he can sort of withstand exotic deer now at this point with Twins Up and Kraken shot. Early points into Gush, actually. That's a bit interesting.
Oh, the range creep. It's gonna. Oh, it's not gonna get the creep. I get the ward. But now that the Titan is going top, nobody's bottom now. It's a bit of an awkward situation. Queen of Pain getting complete free farm right now.
Yeah.
Don't think that's what you want to do. Could at least sort of move one of the supports down here to give them experience.
Well, Afterlife taking some punches. Chuvage revealing himself, and Exotic D he's still farming. 30 last hits, 90 nice. Looking for 1059 here if you can get it. I'd say it's gonna come down to Pikachu, isn't it? Because he's the I have black spikes. It's not fun at all. But yeah, this Plastic is the only one who's having a good time in lane right now. Oh, that arrow missing. It's unfortunate.
The thing is, once the Bloodseeker rotates, though, I expect Singularity to have a response ready. Queen of Pain definitely already has a TP. I wouldn't be surprised if the bottom picks up. Well, mid lane, he's just getting gone on.
Yeah, out of mana. Moonlight Shadow did come out though, and they didn't quite do enough damage for Pikachu to catch him out.
It's very
so he could
awkward.
just stand there, yeah.
And Pathos gets the solo kill.
He actually went into the off lane instead of the jungle. Okay. He
Which I think...
attacked an ultimate, and it's.
Yeah. It's a level 4 Venomancer. Carry Venomancer level 4, 6 minutes in. Queen of Pain level 7.
This is just very awkward for APB.
It's just a horrible laning stage. I think Singularity need to overextend in order to get APB sort of like a bit back. They could, APB could find an opening if Nyx Assassin hits level 6. If Venomancer gets some farm here, and if Titan doesn't die, but he dies.
Yeah, I have no explanation for this, Steven. He just stood there at lower health and walked back out, tanked another Illuminate to the face. It seems like they don't quite know how to deal with this.
See, and this is where I wonder, was Yoku a secondary shot caller or like even a primary shot caller in the first place for this team? Again, I don't want to read too much into this. This is just one game. For all we know, this could have happened with Yoku, but the fact is, Yoku is not here anymore. They are playing with the stand-in, so communication might be a little bit off.
I mean, maybe it's just one of these where you have like a lineup in mind, but you don't really think about the lanes because you think about the mid game and how it works together. Then sometimes you just leave the laning stage and how these things work out of your consideration, and then you get a game like this where you get absolutely crushed, and then that serves as a reminder that lanes are actually quite important. Middle lane though, Nisha this time around though, should be able to get him down, but not after he gets the kill on Bloodseeker again. Glimpse will cancel TP, so no fear, we'll get the counter, but still.
You have a point. Like that definitely does happen, where you don't necessarily consider the laning stage too much, but I feel like they should have adjusted the laning stage at some point. Once they realize, all right, the safe lane is getting crushed, let's just rotate the Titan out. But it seems like they made the decision, no, let's get the Titan to level 6 first, or like at least a solid...
Exactly at top. Katsos here as well. Chuvage with an Invis following up, and now, well, that's a Ravage into the Blood right here. They will be able to finish off the Drown Rage, and now Pikachu. Well, he's pretty damn fast, but he's being body blocked. Katsa is Invis and not quite under the threshold. Dragon Boots will heal him back up, so that'll be absolutely fine.
It's a good and important kill. Pretty much what I sort of thought they would do, except without the ultimate, the Nyx ultimate, but instead like an Invis rune, which works just as fine, to be honest. So yeah, that's still good. But yeah, overall, again, I think the laning stage could have been much better if they had rotated and don't give away these kills.
Okay, I just got to him at the end, where it just fell over. Apparently, he glimpsed back Nisha beforehand, I think.
Yeah, he glimpsed him back. He glimpsed him back.
Because that looked like he just fell over and no one did anything to him. But yeah. Nisha on fire right now. 55 last hits, just behind Pikachu, but he's got a couple of kills under his belt. One more, 3-1 as opposed to 2-2 of the Bloodseeker.
He's ahead of net worth by 600. Nisha's definitely having a good time here, but pretty much all the cores on Singularity's side are. Queen of Pain, third in net worth, just because she's been left alone for like the last, 5 minutes almost. And
they
the
do have
Venomancer's
another
catching up, though.
Sonic Wave. Yeah, Sonic Wave, level 600 tower range as well, so you can easily bully down this tower, maybe get a kill or two here in the back.
All mid lane.
Will heal up on a shrine, middle lane.
Pikachu
Oh.
got arrowed.
We'll do it again. A couple more right clicks will do the trick, and that'll
That
be
should
it.
be enough.
Meanwhile, at the bottom, fight breaks out. Silence comes through on the Venomancer, so can't actually get his ultimate off. Gets right clicked down by Pathos here. Blink forward. Well, Gale and ult just for him, so that'll be the Queen of Pain dying more than likely here, but not without a trade. Double kill with the Sonic Wave being used. But
Mystic charges.
Pathos realizing
Use
that
them?
he'll be dead. Just tries to chase or drop the kill as well, but no fear this time around, able to make it away.
He could have maybe survived if he had just bursted down the Venomancer, but he got a bit greedy because he wanted to go for the other kills as
Yeah.
well. That's why he didn't use his Scream for the Venomancer.
Even after that, maybe you could have stayed alive, walked back to his teammate, get himself denied.
Potentially, yeah.
Uh,
But anyway, still, he gets a double kill, a very important kill on the Venomancer as well,
Yeah.
because the Venomancer was just getting a lot of farming experience. I mean, I say a lot, but he's still, he's still just level 6.
Speaking of level 6, Rivage
Next
on his
assassin,
own, he
yeah.
does see Nisha. He's all alone though, and I don't think he can solo kill anybody at this point.
That's a bit awkward because he can't set up for anything either. It's not like there's a Sunstrike, but no, there's like
Oh.
a Keeper of the Light. That's just as delicious.
Yeah, easy kill as well. The arrow will land.
Double
And he takes
Starfall.
tower shots. Double Starfall coming through, and that'll be the counter kill. So, 1-for-1 trade, I guess. In
So
favor
worth
of
it.
PPG at this point, because
Oh,
well,
Pikachu's
they're behind.
getting bullied.
Is this a
There's no
thing?
kill and tower to protect him.
How is
Yep.
this a thing?
Yep.
How often do you see Bloodseeker just being run down?
Oh,
instead
that's the power of the
Bloodseeker
draw
running
aura.
everybody else down? It's like,
How much bonus damage is
Oh,
that?
no.
21 bonus damage from the Draw Ranger.
yeah.
It's quite disgusting at this point.
Max leap and face boots as well, just giving
Yep.
him initial movement speed.
This is where it was not worth it anymore. But if it happened just that trade-off between the two supports, it would have been. It's still not too bad for Pikachu because he does get the experience from that first kill, and he gets the gold from it as well. He definitely needs it. They might get a pick-off here with the Invis Rune. Is this another Invis Rune setup? Nope.
Well, Katsuo also reveals himself, so instead it's no fear dies. Rapture comes through, just TP's out on the Static Storm as well. Not low enough to be able to be bursted down, so there'll be that. So
That's
ultimate's use
awkward.
for nothing. They did finish up the Keep of the Light up top, though, at the very least.
And he's squibbling on the map. I think he's calling for his team to just move up and try and go for a push. Like, that
Yeah.
tier 1 shouldn't be standing anymore, considering they had a Trident up there. And they sort of got, I wouldn't call it distracted or, intimidated, but once the Titan turned out, they're like, maybe we just go back and just try something else. Even though, they have a Draw Ranger, they could easily still go up there and take the tower. And that's what they're going to do.
Oh, Katsuo found Sakura here. The root will connect. And that was like a
Part of the mech.
headdress. Yeah.
It's not that much.
Still, Sakura down. Blood Rush comes out. They have a sentry here as well. Katsuo throws down his old ult, but he needs some help from his team. And now, well, there it is. Ravage comes through, but so does the Sonic Wave, doing a decent amount of damage, but no follow-up from the rest of the Radiant until just now. Exotic Deer ready to clean house. Same for
Starfall.
Nisha. Leaps in with the Starfall. Katsuo will still fall.
Deny
one more
Pathos.
straight. And Queen of Pain also ends up falling, so does Afterlife with another blast. And the continued right-click from Exotic Deer just out of the backlines here. The kinetic field keeping Novi alive barely. He's trying to
Shoot it,
TP
shoot
out the blast. No! Little sash.
Greedy. That was greedy.
That was. He must have known Novi was so low.
It wasn't even greedy. Yeah, it wasn't even
was
greedy. It
just-
was actually just a misplay.
Yeah. Oh, I
Overall,
could've
it
got
could
the
have been
kills.
that much worse for APB. They lost, what, 3 heroes? 2 heroes? I think it was
Yeah.
actually 2 heroes only. Yeah, only 2 heroes. The Venomancer and the Tidehunter. Sure, you lose 2 cores, but honestly, the Disruptor should have died. The Bloodseeker could have died. Oh, Bottom, are you gonna die? No? Oh,
A
alright.
lot of damage here, but still 16 stick charges on Nisha, plus some extra heals potentially from Katsuo. Actually, he's maxed out Nature's
the
guys
glimpse.
at one point up into living armor, but now the glimpse into an arrow though onto the Disruptor here. Rupture on Nisha with Chivage's ultimate. coming through, and this will be the end of it. Nofi is solo again this round, though. He will die to another punch.
He died for a good cause. He planted the sentry
Yeah.
ward. Overall, just very greedy from Singularity to stick around for that long.
Yeah.
And that is actually not that great. Look how much gold they just gave away. 1,300.
It's quite a bit, especially towards his Tidehunter. When once Sakura comes back, he'll be very close to the mech.
Ooh, the Bloodseeker's Midas recipes in base.
Oh no.
Disruptor's gonna walk. He's gonna pretend to be a courier now. It's in his backpack. He's walking.
Yeah.
He's actually slower than the courier. That's funny.
Not for him.
Really not for him. Yeah, overall, still Singularity. 6K gold advantage. They're definitely still in this game, and they're definitely still ahead. But they need to be careful. These are kills you really don't want to give away because your lineup, as I mentioned earlier, even if you're ahead later in the game, you can definitely still fall. There's a lot of burst damage or there's a lot of damage in general on the dire side. And Lesage probably dead. Yeah, with the urn charge should be dead. Oh, the arrow misses.
Living armor. Oh, level 1, but enough for now. And now Patos comes through. Javash, that's another urn charge, wasn't it? Yeah. Alright, so he does get the kill, but at what cost, Skim?
Oh!
No cost.
He's-
Javash is still alive.
he should
Should take
be dead.
take-
Yeah.
Yeah. Poison was still going for a couple of ticks. Alright.
See, but that's the power of the Nyx Assassin and other force supports that are currently very popular, and the reason why the Treant Protector isn't as popular as it used to be, because they can solo kill other supports. They can solo kill other heroes, which the Treant Protector can't really do in this stage of the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he's a bad hero by any means, but that's sort of one of the reasons why other heroes, the Night Stalker, the Sand King, the Clockwork, are very much favored at this point.
Do they want to set up an Venomancer here? Patos does have an ultimate available, plus a Veil, Moonlight Shadow, to bring them in. Tidehunter on the side though, but he has to die.
Seaboy.
At this point, he's very isolated and very dead in a moment. He'll reveal himself, silence, make sure they can't throw out any more shenanigans. But, well, he's actually surviving for a little bit longer. But realizing that there's no way to trade out.
Oh, Afterlife.
Ultimate
finally.
Afterlife. Oh no. Can maybe still get the ultimate off if you wanted to. Just
Yeah,
with
stick
stick
charges.
charges. That is. It can't still make it to the shrine because Patos blinks
Oh,
right
they
in
also
front
saw
of
the
his
Nyx
face.
Assassin.
Oh no.
Alright.
Probably not worth chasing him though.
No. They could just instead... Actually, they can't even take a tower. The tier 2's... their lane is pushed in, and there's no tier 1 to take. It's a bit awkward. And they're gonna chase the Nyx Assassin after all.
Okay.
Get this bastard.
Yeah. We'll take them a little bit.
He's wasting a lot of time, though.
Yeah. Well, poor bug. Right now, it's only Morana here, just pushing down this tier 2 a little bit. Actually doing a good amount of damage here, Nisha. Only with Face Boots, Lincoln Sphere to block the Rapture. It's all those Drow or a plus 56, it's so ridiculous.
It is quite insane. I love the way that Exotic Deer is playing this Jar Ranger. He's not really going towards the lanes a lot. He's trying to always be, safe in the jungle, or if he does go to lanes, he's usually behind somebody else. And that sort of allows him to just free farm like this. And he definitely needs a bit more farm before he can actually stand his ground in team fights. He needs this Force Staff and potentially even something else in addition to it. Oh, the Sentry!
Oh, the
They found
Sentry! They
Nyx
find the
Assassin!
next assassin! Now, well, Spike Capra's already used. It burns some more of his mana. Mass TP's coming through here. They want to fight this. They want to defend Chuvash. Cards are keeping an eye on him, though. Little Shadow, Dust is available for Nisha as well as Patos. They get the glimpse back inside the Static Storm and Ravage as well. They're committing a lot for this for this hero, and they will be able to find him, but the turnaround, Patos comes in, more AoE damage, Pikachu Connor in front, will be right-click down. Dusk could drop off and Cats of all people. I don't think they care too much about that one. Finally, Sadoi also making an appearance ready to threaten that poison damage over time. Exotic Deer in the front. Feeling very confident here with the Hurricane play.
Very well played from Singularity. I think it almost looked like as if they wanted to disengage, but in fact they wanted to engage. The Keeper of the Light TP'd in the Queen of Pain and the Dream Ranger, and then they were able to turn around the fight. Otherwise, that would have just lost the Potom without any trade-off. But
Yeah.
great reaction from Singularity, and that's sort of the power of the lineup with the Keeper of the Light. They can respond in such a way, and this is why the Draw Ranger, the point I was trying to make earlier, the fact that she can just stay in the jungle like this, because whenever a fight does break out, worst case scenario, she can be TP'd in. So this was a pretty good fight from them, and they take down the Bloodseeker, which, he did go for a Midas, and he's trying to catch up in farm, and his net worth is sort of looking okay-ish.
It's still the highest farmed hero, which is both good and bad, considering
Yeah, exactly.
there's 3 more heroes on top of him on the other team. So.
And you have to consider that 2k of his net worth is still the Midas.
Yeah.
So in some sense, he is sort of just at 5k net worth, if you want to think about that.
What?
Wow.
What?
He could have only
Okay.
really predicted that with the ward at the secret shop, right?
I guess.
Well, he was scouting, maybe?
That was a very random arrow. That was a really lucky hit, regardless. Damn, Nisha.
Did maybe a ward expire and he did seem earlier?
No,
I don't know. Oh, the next assassin he's a bit close. 10 seconds on his cooldown.
Can you kill him though?
Not-
6 health points.
Not
I
alone.
think.
He needs the Bloodseeker, that's for sure.
Yeah. Alright, so far so good though.
Oh, they know that the Bloodseekers,
Scout
they're pinging him out.
Marcus.
Patos wants him.
Well, blinks into the trees. Follow up there from Apatos. Mullet Shadow comes out just to cover their asses. And another punch.
And that's, I believe, an Aghanim Scepter for LSH. Almost.
Yeah, let's go straight into that.
Oh, they're pinging
Again,
Fight
I-
Hunter mid.
oh.
They're just gonna keep on going, aren't they?
I guess he does have Guardian Grease, does have the Kraken Shell passive to work with, so it's actually hard to keep him locked down. But yeah, if 4 heroes are bashing away at you, no help is coming, then there's not a whole lot you can
That
do.
could
to
be either
actually
Roshan
survive.
or Tier 2 Tower.
Yeah.
Without the Tight Hunter, 40 seconds, they can pretty much take any objective they want to.
I think 2 minutes until day. I don't know if you really want to commit to any big tier 2s. Still get the tier 2 bottom.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Get that one for free.
Yeah, I think you just want to take Roche, you want to farm up the axe on Keep of the Light, and then you have daytime by the time that happens.
I think APB is just overall playing way too passive in this game. They need to make something happen. They have very active heroes actually, and they haven't used the Ravage in like, what, 10 minutes or so? It feels like anyway.
They used it when they got the pickup on Nisha.
Oh, right. But still, they should try and smoke up and try and force a fight, I think. Even if it puts their Ravage on cooldown, I think you kind of want to take a fight to them. If you get like a high value target like Draw Ranger, or even the Queen of Pain or the Potom, I think that would be worth it.
Yeah. Just too bad for them to find a way in, because they started at the back foot because of this landing stage, and well, Katsuo right now is making his best Nyx assassin impression, just keeping eyes on people. And speaking of Nyx, that is Kura's name. That was Sanj.
It's a Sanj.
Who Sanj was that? That was
The Draw
from
Rangers.
Exotic
He was-
Gear, yeah.
Yeah, he was building SNY. Yeah, it looks like they're waiting on this Venomancer to finish his items first. I believe he just finished an Aghanim Scepter? No,
Oh, it's going Blade Mail.
He
After
changed his.
Blink.
Oh, he had like a completely different item set in his inventory earlier. So he's Blink, Blade Mail, which I don't think is that great, but it does help their teamfight potential.
You do build quite a bit of, or you do end up with quite a bit of health on the Venomancer, so in that sense it's not the worst, but yeah, it's not the most game-winning build, I don't think.
Ooh, Exotic Deer is very deep on behind enemy lines. They just don't know where the others are. That's the only reason why he's not being ganked yet.
Yeah. That is. Aghanim Scepter on Coddle, just bring in Patos, and it's about to hit daytime right the hell now, so... At this point you gotta wonder, how do they actually deal with the siege?
Well, I think this is why they have the Blink on the Venomancer as sort of like a first item after the Veil, because they need some form or some way to get in there and apply the ultimate to as many heroes as
Oh,
possible.
Katsuo, he finds him. Gonna go straight on top of him. He does get one spell up before the silence comes through.
No buyback.
Venomots are down for 50 seconds, no buybacks. So much for that idea, right?
Well, that might just be a
Blink.
tier 3 tower.
Yeah.
They could technically fight this, but I'm not sure they should.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Just gonna have to constant illuminate, spam healing everybody up, while also doing damage to enemy
You can
heroes.
say that,
Quick
but
ways to
LSR actually
respond.
walks uphill and hits the tower.
Yeah. Well, if he dies, certainly that changes the equation. But right now, it's just pure right clicks. There's no way for APB to really go in. Afterlife, sure, you do have a Ravage, but what do you do with that? Exarchia, he has Aegis too, so like, doesn't really matter. Nisha can just leap away from it. Just have to give up this lane of Rax.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely cannot contest this. You could try and go now once the Venomancer's up now. Yeah, I think they want to fight now.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a
Get the glimpse back on one. That's Exotic Deer. Did have the Lincoln pop the top of him. Now does come through to counter out the Moonlight Shadow. Exotic Deer in the front. Of course, he is the Aegis carrier. Not exactly the one that you actually want to go on. So it's a few spells already being committed. The big ones, though, still in the hands of APB. Still
Yeah,
holding
so-
onto the trump card. They need to land this Poison Nova, this Ravage on multiple targets.
Afterlife, though, he needs a Blink Dagger as well. There's almost no way in having the Blink on Seedoy if Tide Hunter doesn't have it. Because-
Because gem, so it's not gonna
Oh
happen.
my
anytime
God.
soon.
I mean, is Singularity really going to ever give him the opportunity to just walk in and ravage them all?
Yeah. Not
I just-
really.
I will say that he's likely going to get like 1 or 2 people, probably, but it's rather difficult right now because Singularity, they have very mobile heroes. They have like, what, 2 4-stars? No, that's only 1 4-star. But, you know, they have Leap, they have Blink. It's difficult. But with the smoke, maybe, from behind. Nope.
It's one of these
Cutthroat is-
movements that can work out, but yeah, the Singularity really ready for it. Alistar will tank it, blink forward, overgrowth on 3, Silence come through, Disruptor gonna be taken out immediately, Sonic Wave from the backlines. Silence on Venomancer still before he can get his ultimate off on 2. Afterlife still holding on to his Ravage, might have to pop it in a moment here. Nisha's actually going for Ravage, he will barely be able to survive. Now Ravage into a Fall of Sun, they will be able to get the Mirana eventually here, but Exotic Deer free to keep right-clicking up. Pikachu, well, is leaking mana. Afterlife, nothing left to throw here with the Ravage down. Patos, though, well, almost starts to Javage, gets a blink out after the stick charges, and well, it's still daytime, so everyone's just going to be healed up. Next to impossible to fight into this here if you're so far behind. Alistar
Patos-
just providing so much utility here. Patos, he TP'd back, and now, well, taken back by the card, straight in back into the fight. Close to full health and mana. They get another support kill, and this could just be game. And it is. GG is called.
That was a rough game for APB. That was a really rough game. Honestly, I think playing this has to also be very mentally very challenging and draining because you know you can't really do anything. You don't really have any like easy access into a team fight. You need a blink on the either the Nyx Assassin or the Tide Hunter to really initiate properly. You could see in the earlier, you called it out, Afterlife. He was struggling to find a Ravage. Right, he was walking.
Yeah.
He knew he could always ravage the Draw Ranger, but that wasn't the target he was looking for. He wanted
with
more
Aegis
heroes
in hand,
because
yeah.
exactly he wanted the Queen of Pain, the Potom, ideally ace support so that nobody can support the Potom. He did find one, and you know it wasn't a bad one, but by that point the Venomancer was already dead. The Bloodseeker was about to die. It's just very difficult to fight into this lineup because they have been behind from pretty much minute 1.
Right, so with all that in mind, who's actually your Endline Audio MVP of this game for Singularity? Because I almost want to say Nisha, because even though top lane was working very well together, Nisha actually also pretty much won the middle lane with a couple of good arrows, just straight up running them down.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I'd probably go with Katsor just because I think he just played a really strong Treant Protector. In the landing stage especially, I think he just ruined the Venomancer and the Disruptor. And then later on, he found that very strong Blink ultimate on 4 heroes, like in the last fight.
Mhm.
Overall, I think he's just been providing a lot of good vision and key information. He also broke the smoke on the last fight, so he was pretty much the one to go and be like, all right, I'll just tank this gank if it comes to that. I'd probably go with him.
All right. Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's kind of super hard because can't really discount Elder Sash. He's also worked together well in the laning stage. He just kept hitting these blasts to keep everyone low on the side of APB in the safe lane. And of course, just doing the coddle things once you got the axe, like teleporting people around every single time.
Yeah, I think you can
Very
tell that.
helpful, but yeah.
I think you can tell that Team Singularity just played really well as a team.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we're sort of like struggling to just single out one guy and be like, yeah, this guy played the best, because they all play really well. Patos, I think he hit like 3 or 4 sonic waves on at least 3 heroes as well. That was also pretty strong. Like his positioning in team fights was always on point. His laning stage also, you know, even though he died, he made the best of it. So overall, Singularity just really strong.
All right. So that's game number 1. What do you think adjustments-wise APB needs to do to make it, you know, a 3-game series? Really just kind of put more pressure on, because you said they were playing pretty passively. Yeah,
they were very passive in the mid game. I think they could have tried and forced something with their lineup. It is a bit risky against the Draw Ranger, because if you lose a team fight, you lose your map pretty much. But I still think that with their big ultimates, they should have tried and look for a fight and try and go for a pick off. But they tried to go for a bit of a late game scenario. They got really greedy with the Midas, and then even the blink on the Venomancer. Overall, I think their laning stage just needs to be better. They need to have more solid lanes. You can't afford to lose pretty much 3 lanes and think you can still win against the Draw Ranger lineup. So I think this is something they need to work on. Just try and go for a draft that is definitely or very likely gonna win, or at least even out the laning stage, and then just go from there.
Yeah. Or draft that has more options, because they kind of were caught between a rock and a hard place, because they went for this kind of draft that wanted to just be able to use the threat of the Ravage to secure towers, just on back of a sustained push from the Venomancer, but they never got to that point. Right? They never were able to actually execute on that because of all this pressure that Singularity was able to build up in the laning stage already. So, and then they didn't adjust, and they didn't use this this kind of the other extreme, right? Just use Ravage on cooldown every single time comes up to try and get the kill, try and find a skirmish, find a team fight. Just don't hold back. Right? That's kind of the other option that you have, and they didn't quite take it. So either they start with a draft that has more options that are more palatable, I guess, that are less all in, or just like commit to the kind of strategy that you need to pull off if you want to win the game.
They could even go for very cheesy sort of strategies. You know, if they had the Nyx Assassin, if say they had like an Invoker, obviously, you know, Invoker might not necessarily fit the lineup. Actually, it could have worked. But if they had something like that, just go for like easy pickups where you know in the mid game you're always going to get like a kill or 2. Because their lineup, I think, was a bit more difficult to pull off, in my opinion. And like I said, they sort of worked around the threat of the Ravage, but outside of that, what did they really have? They had the Nyx Assassin, but quite frankly, the Nyx Assassin wasn't really that big of a threat. Did he ever set up a kill? He got like a solo kill on the Keeper of the Light. But Singularity was always quick to respond. They always had the Treant Protector to provide his own vision. They had good vision overall on the map. They always sort of knew where most of the heroes were, so that the Nyx Assassin wasn't really that big of a threat. I mean, the Nyx Assassin at the end of the day could also only really solo kill the Keeper of the Light, right? So
yeah,
I think if Singularity if APB just go for sort of cheesy strategies with which they can, you know, secure kills, secure like a lane, I think from there on out you can just build a solid foundation.
All right, so we've managed to avoid having to go to any commercial breaks or music breaks or dance breaks, as it might be.
You don't want to see me dancing anyway. That's the
well,
it keeps up pretty fast, so just
yeah. They wanna play. They wanna get the games through. So we are already into the next draft. Oh my God, a Treant Protector ban! So amazing. So many things to talk about. Now, yeah, let's see whether or not APB can bring it to a game 3. Do you think just a quicker mental adjustment in game would help them? Because it seemed like, you know, towards those early stages until they got that Tidehunter up there, and even then they just looked kind of lost as to how to handle that top lane.
Yeah, it looks like they are making quick adjustments. Afterlife is drafting now. Like the stand-in is drafting. This is.
Oh my! Wait.
I think this goes to.
Oh,
I mean, at least he's in captain seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this just goes to show that they're not really sure what to do. They felt. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a few arguments inside the game or during the game as well, because they can't be happy with how the game was panned out. So I wouldn't be surprised if Afterlife brings his own idea into the game and be like, all right, I'll take this from here on out. And again, this does make me wonder if Yoku was like a big shot caller for the team, or perhaps even the captain, because they look very lost, and giving away the captaincy to like the stand-in just goes to show that you have pretty much no idea how to move forward, I suppose, without him, I guess.
I mean, Afterlife says, "Put me in, coach," and the team agrees.
Ooh, a clockwork.
Oh yeah, that's a good start. Right, he's done his homework on the draft at the very least.
Yeah, this is
Clockwork
definitely more meta.
Oh yeah, it's just one of these heroes that can create a lot of space. They can kind of take control of the pace of the game in general for a very long time. Just out of the 4 position, even out of the 3 position, with a bit of a tighter window, I suppose. But it's definitely a statement that you want to go for something safe, but yet very effective regardless.
Talk about statement. Lone Druid first phase pick.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one in a while. Yeah, the clockwork definitely goes to show that they value the landing stage again, that they respect the fact, or they realize that, hey guys, we sort of gave up all 3 lanes, let's just not do this. Clockwork in most cases will at least win you 1 lane, if not 2, or potentially even the entire landing stage, depending if you're Yapsa or not. But overall, I think this is a more solid pick rather than the Nyx Assassin. I think Nyx Assassin does still well in the landing stage, but he usually needs help. He needs like a setup. He needs like additional burst damage to actually do something in the landing stage. And what was the additional burst damage in the last game? What was it? Was it like Gush? Maybe? That's pretty much it. Or Anchor Smash.
Yeah.
They got that 1 kill in the Queen of Pain. That's
Yeah.
sort of the only burst damage that's worth speaking of. With the Clockwork, on the other hand, he can solo kill people. Not necessarily the Puck, not necessarily the Lone Druid, but a lot of people.
Yeah. Especially some of these supports that are in the meta right now, like the Disruptor that we saw last game, or even Crystal Maiden, that also has not shown up as much as it used to at this point after the last nerf. But yeah, there's definitely a few heroes the Clockwork can just end up running down, especially if you start off with the boots first, and then get yourself a quick win lays. And speaking of Crystal Maiden, as good as Clockwork is at running CM down, as good as he is with CM, just because of that mana sustain, just enabling him to stay out on the map, and just keep going, keep running. Tranquil Boots
like
builds
this.
to get the movement speed as well as the health sustain on top of that. So,
Speaking of Tranquil Boots, Clockwork with Tranquil Boots is easily 420 movement speed or something.
I think 380 or 400.
No, it's 380 with the Windlace.
380 with
I
wind,
think.
yeah.
And broken form, but I think unbroken it's like 4. I'm not sure
400
right now.
then, yeah. You get plus 20 extra with unbroken.
Yeah, it's 400,
Tranquil Boots, I
but
believe.
still,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
Crystal Maiden also just she's fallen out of favor. She got nerfed quite a bit with the mana cost of Frostbite, but she's still a very potent hero. And like you said, she can sort of enable the other heroes, the other lanes. This is one of the reasons why heroes like Bristleback or even Earthshaker sort of resurfaced to the meta, because people realized, hey, if I have extra mana, these other heroes suddenly become that much stronger. Except that now Crystal Maiden fell out of favor, and people realized, hey, these heroes are still pretty good even without the extra mana. But of course, with Crystal Maiden, these other heroes do become very potent, and this is why I think Singularity also ban out DK. Obviously, it is one of Pikachu's heroes, but I think DK is also one of these heroes that very greatly benefit from the Crystal Maiden. DK usually doesn't have a lot of regen, or certainly not mana regen early on, because he saves for the bottle, but with the Crystal Maiden aura, he can spam his, or not necessarily spam his nuke, but still very much use it more often. So
Yeah.
Crystal Maiden, good pick. I like it. I'm a big fan of the Crystal Maiden pick. Always
yeah.
will be.
It just makes games so much easier. But I have a few friends who like to pick CM more often than not, and it's really easy to just go on cruise control and just have a good time, not necessarily pointed out in the game, but it's really noticeable when you then play a game without a CM on your team, and then it's like, where's my mana? I'm used to having mana at this stage, but yeah, it has its impact. It can be extremely subtle, but extremely strong at the same time. But yeah, speaking of
Interesting
strong,
that
Batrider,
Singularity would pick their 3 cores from the
Yeah.
get-go, because the trend has very much gone towards what you see from APB towards picking your supports very early. The 2 exceptions are Queen of Pain and Puck. Those 2 you see often in the first phase, sometimes even Lena, but in most cases you see the 2 supports picked up first. So this is very surprising. And this is one of the reasons why you don't pick your cores usually this early, because they can get countered. Legion Commander, excellent counter against Batrider.
and the puck too. If
And
you
the
manage
puck
to
too.
catch him in a duel, it's an easy kill more often than not.
10 seconds
Hmm.
remaining.
It's a bit
Well,
weird. Maybe Singularity is going to throw a curveball, and this is going to be like a 4-position Batrider, a 4-position Puck. We've seen it all. Misery, I believe, played a 4-position Puck once. Batrider 4-position isn't even that uncommon.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a curveball.
Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. They have some time to think about it here. Still 2 minutes left on reserves. But APB, Ninja Commander probably offlane now as a result. Clockwork 4 position. And the Rubik. Alright, that's totally support positions. That's very classic counter to the Clockwork, at the very least. Just with the instant cast, being able to pluck him outside of the zone cogs. And got some good spells to seal, especially with the Weaver now being picked into the Rubik as well.
This is interesting. Interesting draft. Such a late
Yeah.
Rubik pick. It's not that bad of a pick, like you said. There's lots of good spells to steal. But again, why didn't you just pick it earlier?
I know, right?
It's
I
sort of
know-
weird.
Yeah. I don't know if APB even go for Legion Commander if they don't see a Batrider. I'm not
Exactly.
sure if it's in their mind.
That's-
Yeah.
That's just one of those things. Like, do they really? I'm pretty sure that they did think to themselves, you know what? We don't have a counter against the Batrider in one of our supports, so we need a core that can deal with it. What's the core that deals with it? Legion Commander. I guess Abaddon is another core, but do you really want to pick Abaddon? You don't. Rubik again. It's not a bad pick, but why didn't they just pick it earlier? I mean, Singularity is a good team. For all we know, they have like a really master plan that we just don't know of yet. And maybe again, it could be a curveball. It could be a mid Rubik. I hope it's a mid Rubik, but it's just very unlikely at this point.
Maybe just that Aldosage still has to work out the kinks of drafting, or that I think he did tweet that in the games that they've lost in the qualifiers that he thinks that he messed up the draft.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's something that they can work on.
I think is it PPD? I think it's actually PPD or some other captain. I think it was PPD. PPD used to sometimes last pick his own hero. Like, not sometimes, but more often. No, it wasn't PPD. But I think he was the one talking about. But that some captains just tend to last pick their own hero because I don't know, they just think about what they play that way. It's I don't know. Last picking a support just feels really weird because supports usually don't have that much impact unless it's like a straight up hard counter. And these aren't straight up hard counters. Rubik is just not really a hard counter to anything. Shadow Shaman isn't a hard counter to anything. You could argue that with Hex, with instant Hex, sort of, it's great against Weaver and Storm Spirit, but
it's good,
that's
but it's
pretty
not
much
like it's not uncounterable. Like, especially with Legion Commander on the field, you can just dispel them. Should also work against Shackles, shouldn't it?
yes.
Like that, canceling that one out. So it's not like the oh shit, they just picked the Shadow Shaman, what do we do now with that draft, because it's useless, right? It's not like a Brood Mother in that sense. And Brood Mother would also be, of course, a bad pick in this situation, but you know what I mean, right? It's not the
I do.
all right, how do we deal with this now
Right.
kind of pick. So
It's worth pointing out that Shadow Shaman in this qualifier was quite popular, actually. Not necessarily in the West, but in China. He was picked like 24 out of 50 times in China. They really valued the hero. It was the most picked hero actually in that qualifier.
oh wow.
And for good reason. He's been buffed quite significantly over the in 7.06. He got his strength gain buffed. He got more damage, of course, and his serpent wards got buffed with like a talent and also the range. So overall, I think Shadow Shaman is a good hero, but teams are still trying to figure out how to work him into their lineups. And I think the Chinese teams found a good way. They just play really well around his ultimate, and I think OG also was one of the teams that tried it out in Manila Masters or something. It didn't quite work out for them, but maybe Singularity have with the Londra, you have a lot of push. Maybe they just found their own recipe with this hero.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, right? The comfort level of the heroes sometimes it just matters more than having the perfect composition. And it's not like it's a bad draft from Singularity, right? They just have to make sure that they play around the counters that are happening, that they don't give the clockwork too easy of a time, because Shadow Shaman also one of these heroes that doesn't necessarily deal well with the clockwork running it down early. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. You also have to make sure that you know where the Legion Commander is. Whenever you go in for Blink Lasso, you have to make sure that the bear doesn't keep dying. All of these kind of things. But if you manage to keep that in mind, if you manage to play around that, you can still do your thing. You can still get kills, get towers, and scale into the late game just in the back of the bear.
For sure. But I do think that APB's lineup looks much better now than it did before. I think the lanes look rather solid with the clockwork. The Storm Spirit usually doesn't lose his lane that easily either. Same with the Weaver. Legion Commander can always fall back into the jungle, worst case scenario. Crystal Maiden can fall back into the jungle. And overall, I think Singularity, if anything, they just don't look like they would pressure the lanes that much. Bad Rider are likely going to be solo, and then they're going to they might just have a dual roam with the Shadow Shaman and the Rubik. But overall, I just don't think that this laning stage is going to be as one-sided as we saw in the game one.
Yeah.
I hope not. That was just not pretty to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, it's fun to watch like kills and and bloodbath, but at the same time, you feel really bad for APB, and
Oh yeah.
especially when you know they could have technically done better.
Well, they definitely have to do better now in this game, because if they lose this one, then they'll drop down to the lower bracket. The winner, of course, moves on to face up against Gambit in the next round. The loser will have to face Danish Bears. Also,
And that's not an opponent you want to face.
Yeah, I feel like there's like two types of teams. One that just get beaten down by like lack of success. Then there's teams like DB who, like for the most part, have stayed together for so freaking long, so they know how to handle this, right? They know how to handle defeat and bounce right back up. So it's very scary team indeed.
And this is also why Singularity is like a sort of scary team to just in generally look at. Even though they did lose in the playoffs of the qualifier, like you said, they've been together for a while now, and pretty much like Danish Bears, I'm pretty sure they won't just, mope all day. Whereas CyberEnergy or APB, they, I guess, sort of disbanded or at least got dropped from their organization, and now they also, Yoku is taking a break now, so they're sort of in shambles right now, and I think this is where teams like Singularity can like strike and exploit some of their weaknesses now.
Well, Clockwork doing Clockwork things. You should be able to get a secondary cogs off. Also like what he did there. He took out one of the side cogs, so you can still go for the body block. Because if you just stand with the creeps inside the cogs, then don't actually get to do that. But yeah, mid lane, right now it's 2v1. Pikachu taking so many right clicks already. It's gonna call for some help.
Clockwork to the rescue.
Yeah.
He's gonna bully you out of the lane. I will say that Rubik, I did mention that Rubik is not necessarily a hard counter to anybody, but he is sort of a counter to Clockwork.
Yeah.
He's gonna lift him out of the cogs, so that is quite noteworthy.
And a lift, Pikachu. Well, good cogs push back, but Nisha, oh, okay. Got to join the cross and enough burst damage to get the first bloody, and no fear. It's also pretty damn low, not low enough, and of course the boots first. Fast enough to just walk it off, but damn. It's kind of a quick 1-2 punch there into the Storm Spirit.
I feel like that shouldn't have happened, but it sort of did. I think the Clockwork also, no fear, also misplayed quite a bit, because he tried to push only the puck away, even though he could have walked into the mid and tried to push both the puck and the Rubik away. So that's why puck only needed to like sidestep, and he was fine. So it was a bit of a weird engagement.
Well, gonna have to try and recover and not let that get to them. Alisage at the same time linking up with Kyle, so they're also even keeping him away from the bounty rune. That can't feel good. They will get themselves a DD up top to help out a little bit. How's the top lane going? The Weaver, well, getting pretty much free farm. Batrider just trying to soak his levels, doing Batrider things with his offlane. Down bottom, well, Elisage can get some help. Afterlife lifted back into a couple more right clicks, including the with the bear. Body blocks are real. This should be another kill, and it will be. The Shadow Shaman himself taking that one.
Yeah, strong or good rotation from the Rubik here, just in general, recognizing the fact that, after they gave the puck this good start, they don't necessarily need him in the lane anymore. The Rubik, that is, and finding a kill in the Legion, quite important. But it did put the two supports very low, and they have to leave the Lundruid by himself now for a bit.
Yeah. Means he'll have to be a bit more offensive. Luckily, the Creep Wave is under his tower, so he'll be able to secure some of these last hits, hopefully. But you do have to be wary of Clockwork just trying to isolate you as well.
As I say that, Katsuo doesn't need to be mid anymore. He walks back into mid and tries to be a nuisance again.
Well, if it works, why stop, right? Already about half a level ahead in terms of experience worth. Yeah, it's just a lot more CS Pikachu is missing. Just Katsuo being here is threatening.
See, this is actually good because
They're gonna go Elisage, finds the shackles. Extra bit of damage. Nisha right in the middle of where the Sansa follows, so one remnant's all you get off. No Fear did find Elisage, so this might actually be a counter kill. Maybe not though, it's only No Fear. Battery Assault not lasting really long enough. Especially not with the help coming out from Rest of Singularity. He's trying to walk to the other side, but hey, Nisha, making good use of this early mobility from the Illusory Orb. This guy, 1-0-2 already. 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah, this is just very well played from Singularity. So first they had the two supports bottom, forcing the Clockwork bottom again. Oh, Rubik might just be in danger here. They know he's here.
Yeah, Shuvash will TP through. Doesn't quite get the frost buff immediately here, but will still be in range and outside the cogs. They'll be the boxers, the enemy boxers, or whatever we want to call them, getting themselves on a board.
Yeah, anyway, they move the Rubik and the Shadow Shaman bottom, force the Clockwork bottom, and then they immediately rotate mid and force the Clockwork back mid. This is sort of not what Clockwork wants to be. He sort of wants to be the one that forces other supports to the lanes, but he can't really find the openings just yet. Maybe onto the Exotic Deer now?
Yeah, just a little bit too late with the reaction here, so we will be blocked in. Candy his way through the cogs, and even though Savage Roar keeps the rest of them away, Norfield was still happily right-clicking away.
Good gank. This is what the Clockwork needs to do more often. Even if he does need the Crystal Maiden for it, still a very important kill. And the Weaver can stand by herself.
If you were curious. With the unbroken Frankles. 405 movement speed now.
Oh.
1 o'clock.
Well, power of Clockwork.
Oh. Can it just keep standing around here?
They can, and they should probably. I don't think the other lanes need that much help, and by being here, they force the supports to be here either, as well, because they can't really... Oh, top lane. They find the Weaver.
Ooh. Burning, follow up with the last, so they will have enough damage. A level 6 hits on the Weaver either, so wow, it's actually quite interesting. Pathos hits that before the bug does.
Exotic Deer. No. No fear. Wants to wrap around.
Well...
See, the thing is, I do think they should be here, but if they don't find these kills, then it's just wasted time.
Yeah. The problem is with these kind of supports that Singularity have, they're not really suited for this kind of trial lane. So just having, like, you have a Shadow Shaman, right? You have one spell, the second spell disables yourself as well as the enemy. So it's a bit of an issue in my eyes.
Right, that's true.
So they decide to, alright, just play defensively, hug the tower. Just have Kato there to pluck out the Clockwork in case he gets Exotic Deer with inside the cogs. And then just try and make something else happen with the Shadow Shaman as well.
The thing is, in that early engagement, or the almost engagement where Nofia just got lifted away, basically, if Chuvash had been there, I'm pretty sure that could have been a kill, but Chuvash, it felt like they were not really communicating properly, because Chuvash was actually farming the jungle while Clockwork moved in. So this is one of those things where I wonder, is APB even on the same page as to what they want to do in this laning stage? And it doesn't really feel like it just yet.
Well, right now it's in a good position, but it doesn't quite have the mana for Frostbite. inside the Dicer jungle, so Chuvash looks like he just supposed to keep farming right now.
It does seem like it.
Yeah.
I don't really agree with this because the lanes aren't doing that well. Well, I guess they're sort of doing okay right now, but I think you could do better. And the Crystal Maiden farming, what is she going to accomplish with the farm that she's getting right now? They could have been looking for a kill on the Puck, maybe even on the Lone Druid, but instead this Crystal Maiden might actually die. Alisage sees her.
Oh.
He's too slow. Well, they say that even though he's faster.
It's crazy, isn't it? But
Actually, no, the
Crystal Maiden just got the
mid lane.
Trankles, and there it is, no fear, TPing out, but gets lifted up. Coil not quite being not quite being snapped by that lift, but well, made his own grave with the cogs anyway. Now TP in from Pikachu, just straight up silence down to half health. That's a lot of damage. He just came back from base.
If Lift had been off cooldown, he would have been dead.
Oh man.
Speaking of being dead, Alisage getting chased down. They have a
There's a
duel.
shrine available here. The duel available. The shackles will be broken, and now TP through from Pathos. Just a power play here. Get away. Get out of a jungle.
Bit unfortunate. If Lesage had a point in Hex, they would have potentially gotten the Legion Commander or the Crystal Maiden. They did force out a TP from the Bad Rider, which is pretty nice for APB, because this does give Weaver some time. And, you know, as I say that, Cedo immediately tries to push the tower.
Yeah.
Maybe even goes for the kill in Katsor? Can he kill him? No,
I'm
he
not
should
sure
be
he
able to.
can, no.
No.
Not that close to tier 2, but...
He's actually only tickling him as well.
They would eventually be able to chew through him here with... If we manage to force him to try and run instead of dealing with the bug, they'll keep nibbling away at the armor.
Yeah, maybe. Lone Druid, by the way, going for Midas.
Yeah,
So
fairly
standard. Yeah, it's standard.
Already has
So-
it too, so it's a really strong timing. But yeah, I'm just looking at Nisha again. This guy, with the Veil already, almost level 9, he
And the
finds a
lane?
silence on Clockwork, and of course, he's someone who doesn't really care about being caught in the cogs.
top.
If he has the oh god, what?
Cedo finds the Cone Katsor underneath the tower.
Oh damn!
He got pretty low though because of the tower shots and, you know, the Rubik, of course, but with the time lapse, that's not really an issue.
Good play. Stoy catching up, and he's the highest farmer on. Oh god, I keep missing these kills. Catch Alisage,
I might
Pikachu with
be-
this level 6. Oh, level 8, it's almost 9 himself now, but for the first time using that zip aggressively.
And I believe for the first time in this game, for the first time in this game, APP is pulling ahead into his net worth. They're finding these great kills. The two supports on the Singularity side right now are sort of not accomplishing anything, whereas now
We're gonna
this is
try
what
again here. Stone Spirit caught with the zip, follow up with the shackles. Zip comes through here. Of course, you can break the core without being stunned by it because of that. Don't find the kill. They only force him back.
Oh,
But the
the
rest
deny.
of box, they want to come through here. Nisha out of mana here with the extra bit of burn. The
that's a
dual
dual
of
win.
Shadow Shaman.
Oh,
Not
no.
quite. You jinxed
Last
it. Come on,
second.
Skim.
Yeah, last second.
Ugh,
Oh,
hashtag
Nisha doesn't
Skim.
have mana for TP.
Yeah, he's done for. Oh wow, he just
Is
got
he?
enough mana.
Did you jinx?
Yeah,
Oh,
no, I didn't jinx him.
I jinxed him.
I'm not a jinxer, dude. It's your job.
Overall, again, it was a great attempt onto the Storm Spirit, but like you said, now that he's hit level 6, or I mean, he's level 9, but you know, once he's past level 6 stage, it's very difficult to kill him like that.
Yeah.
And overall, I think Singularity is just falling behind right now. And you know, this is where the Crystal Maiden, the fact that she's greedy, pays off because she is farming for herself. Whereas if you look at the Shadow Shaman, he's level 4.5, basically. I guess he isn't exactly poor either, but he's still behind the Crystal Maiden.
He is also a target right now to smoke up from box. They do have the hook shot. They
Might be
do have
dual
another
win.
duel available.
That's a
So
dual
they
win.
get a
That's an
duo
easy
over
one.
on this time around.
Not
They
even I
finish
can
it
jinx
off.
that.
No, but hey, there's Lasso. A blink reveal from the Bat Rider. Looking for the counter kill on the Legion Commander. And, well, unless Afterlife just.
Oh, they have a duel! They have a duel! They have a duel!
Oh, they have! Ah! Oh, they almost lost it though.
That would have been
You guys
hilarious if he had
stole
lost his own
that.
duel. That's plus 10 damage, Shell. This is
like
where you
one of the
just
most
type in
useless spells
thanks in all
steal.
chat.
Yeah. Like technically, it's one of the most useless belts to steal because he's a Rubik. What's he gonna do with the damage?
It's a good setup for stuff, but yeah, you're definitely right. It did pay off in this scenario, but it's unlikely to be ever useful again.
Well,
I guess you could make the
unless-
argument. No, you could make the argument that if you kill the Storm Spirit and give him 10 damage in return, that is a worthwhile trade.
Yeah. Or you just go full right click, you build attack speed, you get the plus 60 damage down to level 10. It's just a whole new way to play Rubik. Who knows?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But yeah. Singularity with that kind of stabilized a little bit. But they still have to deal with this Weaver as well, right? I mean, he died once, but it's still a Weaver, right? How
It's
to
still a
deal with
Weaver.
him later?
That is definitely a big issue. They do have a lot of disableds, but he'll obviously build into your Lincoln Sphere at some point, and that's what's going to be a bit of an issue. And they need sort of like blink on both the Rubik and the Shadow Shaman to effectively deal with him. But overall, he's just going to take a tower for free. They're not even going to respond to this.
Is under attack.
Yeah, they were hoping they could catch somebody else out with a smoke rotation here, but
Radiant's
well, the rest of APB are just running together as a team.
It's rather obvious though now that what they're doing really. Singularity
Yeah.
that is. And APB just realized, alright, we'll just take a second tier 1 if you're not going to defend this. Sure, have our tier 1. We'll take 2 of them.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, at this point you'd imagine Singularity to just wrap around and try and look for a fight. I mean, you have Veil, you have Coil.
Or Afterlife, he's getting spotted out by a ward.
Well, they also have Ward Stone, that is the last though. Finds
They have
Legion
another
Commander
duel
with
if they
all
wanted
that-
to.
Yeah, with the Coil, they drop everything in this guy.
Come on, give him the dual win, dude.
Didn't quite get it off. So the Ward's still doing some work. Meanwhile, down bottom though, that tier 2 also taking a bit of damage here. Pathos. Of course, you already used the lasso. So Sidorian doesn't really care now. He got the Max and Pathos. Chuvash comes through with a Frostbite. This is that bad one. It might just be here, especially with Pikachu making an appearance, converting, then kill.
On top lane though, they found the clockwork.
So that is one fun trade, but still
Radiant's bottom tower
in favor of APB. I want to say if they also get this tower as a result.
100%. They're going to get 3 towers for the price of 2. Yeah, they lose the Legion. Yeah, they lose the Clockwork. But I think that is very well worth it because this gives a lot of farm to Seedoy and
yeah.
Pikachu. You know, before Seedoy pushed the tower, he had his Diffusal Blade queued up, and now he almost has it.
Yeah.
This just goes to show that I just don't think Singularity traded effectively here. They might have been looking towards, their own items and thought to themselves, hey, if we get these towers, we get the Blink and the Veil of Discord and the Pock, we get the Lundra that much closer to the Radiance. But they're just not really paying too much attention towards what the other team is building in terms of items. And suddenly the Storm Spirit almost has a Bloodstone.
It's a bit of an issue. Chuvash. Okay, better TP out. Katsuo, you almost found him inside of there. But yeah, I mean, these kind of trades are also a little bit interesting that they would take them because you have the Sloan to it. But eventually, once you have Radiance, once you have a couple of items on the spare, all you need to do is win a team fight, and then you take towers in the blink of an eye almost. So it's not like you're pushing potential is getting any less, so you have to try and commit for it now while you can. It's like the other way around.
Exactly. If anything, it gets better from here on out. You also have the Shadow Shaman who only just hit level 6. So technically, going forward, you can expect much... Oh! No, Puck's not going to get anything. So going forward, you can technically expect a little bit more push potential from him even. Oh, Nisha.
I
they
got
want him,
Nisha.
they get
Ocean
him.
will connect. They get the duel. No, Lucio was still in cooldown for a couple of seconds. They knew they could easily go for this kind of kill. Now Shadow
It's the
Shaman
defensive solo
dies
kill.
solo at the bottom.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Singularity. They're so far off the Radiance just yet, still, and they're getting pushed in. They're going to lose a tier 2 very likely, unless they're going to move top. Alright, they're going to lose a tier 1 top then. I'm not sure that's actually worth it. That tower is almost dead. Anyway, but still, they're just falling. I know the net worth doesn't necessarily indicate that because it's technically just like a 1.5k net worth disadvantage. But I think if you look at towards the cores and the cores items and levels, I do think that is quite worrisome. Again, Bloodstone is almost up. They have a Diffusal Blade now on the Weaver, so the Hex from the Shadow Shaman can easily be negated.
Yeah.
And going forward, that's also, what, 20 damage on the Legion Commander now? Yeah, 20 damage on the Legion Commander. Oh, it's a bit worrisome. They're not really doing too much around the map. APB also have great vision. They have very deep wards inside the enemy, behind enemy lines, so they always know sort of where the enemies are.
So they're in a much better position than they've been all last game. And well, Singularity Patos is trying to keep finding these blink glasses, but for the last couple of minutes he hasn't really been successful whatsoever. Throw down the scan, but that's a long zip towards Exotic Deer down in the bottom. He gets caught with the bugs. He's going into his tanky form, but still gets hookshotted down. Lift from Clockwork here up on the high ground, so that's hilarious. He doesn't actually have a TP scroll, so will be there for a moment.
Weaver
That's
can give him one, I think.
this is over.
Nope. Ignore the guy. Screw him.
As long as Batrod is there, okay. He'll get dueled, and that's a duel win. Great baits, no fear.
Pretty much, actually. It was sort of a bait. Now he gets his TP?
No.
Nope. He still doesn't. Oh, Career's coming in anyway. Again, this is the ward paying dividends. It paid dividends before already when Puck and Rubik tried to gank the Weaver, and Weaver immediately knew, alright, I can escape here, or I should escape here. And now they find the Lone Droid kill, which, by the way, I guess wasn't that big of a deal because he did just purchase his relic. But still, any kill at this point is very important because you delay the Radiance. Mid lane, Weaver.
That's all. Zip into the lift, and now, well, will die.
Oh, a second.
Just as the silence expires. Okay, Pikachu. Longest jump in
doesn't
history.
have mana anymore,
He
though.
does get the counter goblin, yeah. There's a duel coming through here on the lead commander. Finally finishing up Nisha, but he does get rooted up. Winner, but purchases off. Gets himself the extra bit of movement speed. Gets pushed to the side. Meanwhile, Chuvash, that ultimate on the side, not really doing anything. So they will make it a 2-for-2 trade. Unless Chuvash ends up dying somehow, but Patros got close for the
Just
lasso.
a second for the lasso, yeah.
Oh,
That was a bit
man.
unfortunate for Singular, or I guess both sides sort of unfortunate. A second on the Weaver silence, and he would have been able to use time lapse. Second there for the lasso. Overall, still a great trade for Singularity. Sure, they lose the puck, but they get two very important kills here. But unfortunately for them, they don't get the Pikachu Storm Spirit, and he has his Bloodstone now. And this is where he gets very dangerous. With the Bloodstone, you know, he's highest in net worth. Going forward, he'll be able to steer a lot, a lot of trouble. You saw how those supports melted when he just jumped in. So once he builds into that Orchid, it's going to be very troublesome. They don't really have any defensive mechanisms against him either. They're not even close to any sort of defensive items. I imagine Lesage will pick up a blink instead of, you know, like a cloak. So this is something they need to prepare for themselves for, like a defensive item. Maybe
Try to go again
even
now that
voice
he's
that.
seen Nisha here. Does get his phase shift off, but now the duel as Castle reveals himself. And we'll find the Rubik at least. Elisage also caught on the back of that. 2-for-0 trade so far. Pikachu, he wants more. Can quite find an extra target, but yeah, with that, Creep Wave is coming in a moment. Can it bring down a tier 2 now?
They should be able to. Then again, these two supports are low level, so they're up pretty much now again. But I imagine they should be able to take this. They do have duel up again in 18 seconds. And they still have pretty much every ability up that they would need. And this is sort of the big difference towards the first game. They're not reliant on big ultimates or big cooldowns to take objectives or to take team fights. They do have their normal abilities that they can just jump in and out of.
Patas doing some of the dewarding work. The Radiance is up now, though, on the bear, so we're starting to get to a point where Exotic Deer can kind of throw his net worth into the fray and actually do quite a bit of damage in a team fight if he manages to survive. So, gonna put a little bit more onto APB to actually focus him down. Alright. Smoke up. Roshan, maybe? It's being scouted out, though. APB know that this is potential.
They don't really have
Not going for it.
great damage against Roshan. They would have to commit the wards for it, and like you said, the Rocket Flare was just there. I think you definitely want to go for a kill here. You do have the blink. No, you don't have
This
the
would
blink.
be a decent one if you can actually get him, but Afterlife on the high ground actually blinks for the duel here. Should be able to win this one, especially inside the Cogs. 3 heroes there. Okay. That duel will just expire, but now the call being stepped by the Storm Spirit here. Little Sash. Yeah, actually keeping him controlled. 3 for 3 trades so far. Exotic Deer still in the middle of that. His bear can't. Look at where his bear is.
He's trapped
Can
inside the
see out.
wards.
The bear will be recalled now.
Oh, Nisha, he's
Bear
still
was
being hunted by
trapped. I
Seedoy.
think they should be fine. Nisha, does he have another orb in a second? And also has the blink. I got so thrown thrown out of my composure with that bear.
That was a
Sitting in the
great,
middle of that. Oh
that was
no.
a great team fight from Singularity, though. You would
Yeah.
think that they should have lost it easily once. Oh, Nisha, that is so greedy. Storm Spirit is back up. That is so greedy.
Ooh. Well,
And he goes
confident
back
in your
in.
own abilities.
Come on, dude. Don't do this to me. I have a weak heart. Oh, this is so greedy. It should be punished, but it's not.
No, it isn't, but, well, it is punished for Shadow Shaman, so Sash comes through. So gets a confused spell tough. Now the lasso on the Legion Commander being right-clicked down by the bear, and now the Cogs actually catching Pikachu and Nofia. Of course, Pikachu doesn't really care. Nofia able to walk his way out until the Blinks catch up with him. Pikachu, now he's the one with no damage. Kazo with the Shikuchi. Great spell to seal, just keeping up with him. The call comes through, he will snap it. Extra health a little bit.
Radiance is
Afterlife
up.
finds a duel here, but the lift still came out. The Radiance will force us to deny the dual wood for Afterlife. But at what cost? He should still be run down unless Juvage can kind of tank the gank, so to speak. And looks like, yeah, they'll be able to catch the focus and maybe survive even going to the high ground, yeah. That flame break will not be enough with the shrine going, so I did not expect Afterlife to survive there. Now,
they want to
TP
re-engage.
through here. Nisha, he's still super low. And this time around, well, this gets the orb off, but not quite across the high ground. Forced that from his friend. Nisha, can he get the blink out? No. Not
Well,
this time.
Finally, his. I wouldn't even call it cock. Oh, Patas?
Oh god, really?
Nah, he should be dead. He does have a 4-7 in 3 seconds, but
It's no mana on Pikachu, but Afterlife's coming through. It does have another duel. It is a dead bad rider. Plus 90 damage now as well. So much action in the past couple minutes, and Afterlife has been benefiting from quite a lot of that.
so you know that first engagement where the bear got trapped in the wards? They should have lost that, but the wards was just, they were greatly placed. They just got all their AoE abilities off from the puck as well. And now that just last fight, Nisha should have not, Nisha should have died, but he played so well, baited all of them into using their spells early, and then baited them into a very unfavorable fight on their own high ground. And unfortunately, he was a bit too overconfident in the last minute now. That cost him a kill, or a death rather, and then also the Aegis and Roshan.
Yep.
And that was almost not worth it again. If you look at the net worth, it's again in favor of APB, and with the Aegis now, Sorcerer will be able to safely farm up the Orchid, and once the Orchid is up, he'll be able to pretty much solo kill anybody except for, I guess, the Lone Druid or the Puck.
Yep. Puck has the ults now, so in anticipation of the Orchid.
Yep.
So
And
he'll
he's even
be
going to
able
build into
handle that.
Lincolns as well.
Yeah. Go super defensive mode, just put all your eggs in the Lone Druid basket. Who still doing decently well, all things considered. Right? You do have the Vlads on top of the Radiance. And still sitting on top of that Wolf Shot right now. Lines are being drawn. Circles.
BKB for the Weaver.
Uh,
This Weaver is going to be difficult to deal with. The only real ability they have to deal with him is now the Lasso.
Yeah.
And once the Lasso, I don't even think they can have enough damage to burst him down during the Lasso. So he's almost
not
always
really.
going to be able to time lamps out of the damage.
Unless you can lasso before you BKBs, because then you can chain up the rest of your abilities. That's the one thing that they can hope for. Outside of that, it's just a lasso to kite him and then decide whether you want to run or whether you can maybe try and kill anyone else on the side of the APB.
APB still need more defensive items on their team. They have a 4-step on the Shadow Shaman now, which is great. But they need more, and they need to not die here. Oh, Katsor. Poor guy.
He is
dead, isn't he?
dead. Afterlife. Oh, that's a call coming through actually from Nisha. Helping his buddy out, keeping Afterlife away. That would have been just a walk in or blink into another duel.
They really need a Glimmer Cape on Singularity's side.
Yep. Definitely having a much harder time this game. slowly. It feels like it's slowly starting to slip away with these items coming out that you've been talking about.
For sure. And the more BKBs come out on APB's side, the more difficult it's gonna get. Like Storm Spirit is not even working on it. Afterlife is sort of starting to work on it. Oh, Storm Spirit jumps in.
That's a long zip, and now gets Hex. He gets silenced. Doesn't actually follow up. They get the lasso as well onto leading commanders. This ages down immediately. They lose Cancer Fort. Now the hook shot into the middle of it. Push back here on the Bat Ride, and now Pikachu with the second life will be able to finish him off. The Shrine's going, and now silence of 3 heroes. But that's a follow. Battle Stars from Leslie Nuke. BKB into the time lapse out from Sadoy. Well, Yoshi Road, maybe not just yet here. 4 single layers here to get another call onto 3 targets. But Pikachu, well, still enough money, still enough mana in the pool here to finish up some more heroes. But now, kind of low on mana. Gets rooted up by the bear, but Sadoy, well, is just mad fighting it with the bug. Plus 300 gold for him, so...
Oh, the door.
Do they keep going here? They do, indeed. I'll try to, at the very least.
Very unfortunate for Singularity that, or maybe a bit of a misplay even, that Exotic Deer was not around for that fight. If he had been there from the get-go, Crystal Maiden, yeah, she's dead.
Oh,
they found the ball in the back line.
Okay. Just go from bad to worse.
They might be able to find a kill here with the Yolt Scepter. They can definitely get the Afterlife.
Well, Sans comes through. Doesn't actually quite catch Pikachu, so he'll be able to zip with last bit of mana. Nisha's so low, actually. He's also, well, sitting in 5 of his teammates. It'll be alright. And now the bear can take over. And the damage to pop. And Afterlife does end up falling here. It's a good amount of money for Patos. Nisha, what are you still doing here? Come on. This guy's a monster. The hook shot up front will miss. Elisage, well, gets a few seconds with the Shackle off. Now Exotic Deer with the Savage Roar trying to keep them away. Unable to prevent his body from dying. What a massacre.
What a massacre indeed.
These team fights, they last like 3 minutes each, at least.
Overall, though, Singularity still pull ahead. They get the kill onto the Storm Spirit, which is very important here. And
again, Pikachu, another zip forward into the Orchid, forcing out the Yules. Do have a link in a second, but back on top of you, well, kind of hard to get it off, but of course you can't throw it out. Just outside of the phase shift.
Oh, by the way, they didn't get the kill on the Storm Spirit. Of course, he still got away. But they got the kill on the Legion Commander, which is nice. They did force out the BKB from the Weaver, and they didn't lose the Puck or the Lundred. I'd say that's sort of a win.
Yeah, they also didn't lose any health points on a tier 3 tower, so it's...
I would say though that if APP hadn't gone past the tier 3 tower, I'm pretty sure Singularity would have lost the fight. The only reason APP had to pull back was because there was a tier 3 tower there, and they were all diving and there was a shrine there. That's why they sort of like traded unfavorably. But overall, they found a better initiation. There's nothing that Singularity could do against the BKB, and certainly nothing they could do without the Lone Druid. They just don't have the damage right now.
Well, might not have the bear caught inside the cogs, Frostbite, and just being right-clicked down. There is another bear available. Oh, the hook shot. Almost bring down Exotic D. Meanwhile, up top here, they find the Shackles on to Afterlife, so it's continuing to be a bit of a punching back. Patos getting a lot of these kills.
Linkens is coming in for Nisha. Expect him to be even more confident going forward.
Oh man,
if he's been ballsy up until now, I'm pretty sure. It's going to be a completely different game now.
Pretty soon he'll be diving fountain, and we'll
Why
think
not?
that's absolutely perfectly fine.
I will say though that I think with heroes like Puck, these plays are almost important to just gain more confidence going forward, and also just a sort of it gets into the enemy's head when the Puck plays as confident like that, and you can punish him. It gets into your head.
Well, see if that can tip the balance here. Singularity, they've kind of held on so far, but they haven't really been able to stabilize for too long. So now this is one of these movements to try and accomplish that here. Throw the bear, throw down the serpent wards. Finally, for another tower, tier 2 in mid. Sadar will be able to clean up some of these. Now on the back lines, also wrapping around Kato will show himself. He will be caught by the Crystal Maiden. Frostbite stolen. No. Okay, that's a duel. Now we'll wait for that one. Easy juice. Afterlife up to 122.
But there's so much money for Seedoy because of the wards. Weaver is definitely one of the better heroes to deal with certain wards. He was a bit scared. He could have technically committed more, but he wasn't sure where Singularity was, whether or not they were sitting behind the tree line maybe and just waiting for somebody to commit on the wards. But overall, still, I'd say APB very much still, sort of on the way to not necessarily win the game, but maybe like open up the way to win the game.
Yep.
They're just getting all the necessary items. They're making the necessary moves. They're getting a lot of map control as well. Sure, they just lost a tower, but they have, again, very deep wards.
I thought it was a tie game. Been able to keep an eye on Singularity and just never really lose grip. Apart from maybe now up top, the bear is just burning through the creeps. Someone's gonna have to respond to this, or else they'll just take unnecessary chip damage. I might even lose the tower here that's already down below half health. All they really have is the Clockwork Rocket, which will help if the creeps are there, but
The thing with APB is though that they need to be careful not to let this advantage fade out. They've been sort of not applying as much pressure anymore because I guess they don't really feel comfortable in these like extended fights maybe. And right now they're not really accomplishing too much on the map. It feels like they're trying to find a kill in the Lone Druid, but ultimately they're not really doing anything. They're getting obviously still farm in the cores, but it does give room for Singularity to farm up on their own items. And the Lone Druid is getting quite he is getting farmed. With the AC and the Vlads now, likely maybe an MKB next. Oh, he looks okay. He's gonna go for the items. Oh, Nisha mid.
He's got out now, but now, well, duel, everything being thrown, so Lincolns can protect you a little bit. But only
This is 70
once.
seconds without buyback. That's a Roshan, Aegis, and potentially a tier 2 top. Not sure they're going to feel comfortable pushing mid. And if Singularity are smart, they're going to push out bottom and mid, making sure that they cannot go high ground.
Yeah.
Well, they don't... I'm not even sure they know this is happening. I think they're now pinging it out, but they scanned first next to the tier 2 bottom.
Right. So, another Aegis
committing
she's
towards
as
this?
well. Yeah, they just need to get back the hell out of there. Without Nisha, it's like your one big control factor. One guy that can
Yes.
still sort of try and run around circles in the middle of a team fight against APB, and without that, you cannot really commit to anything. So you need to just turtle up inside the base and hope for the best at this point, because APB, they've been continuously just climbing and climbing, and now they have another big power spike with the second Aegis. Storm, of course. Arguably the best Aegis carrier in the game.
At the same time, though, they've already been turtling inside the base, even when Nisha was up. Oh, Cat Sword. He's so dead, isn't he?
Again, it's a long zip.
Yeah, and this is now Pikachu feeling very confident in this game.
Yeah.
He has a BKB, he has Bloodstone, 14 charges, he has an Orchid, and the Aegis, of course. Like you said, probably the best Aegis carrier in the game. I think if you're Pikachu right now, you feel untouchable. Or rather, if somebody does kill you, hey, you have a second life, and then you're definitely untouchable.
Yeah.
Was a bit worrisome for Singularity. They're already setting up for a split push with Exotic Deer, but I don't think it's going to be on time. They're not even going to trade here.
Yeah.
They could. Oh,
Well, silence comes through. Just trying to play with them a little bit, trying to keep them away. There's still a catapult here, so that's a bit of an issue. If the heroes can tank the tower for a bit, that'll keep the backdoor region taken down. And that's the first tier 3 of the game taking care of top lane. Well, if they don't attend to this, then this will be tier 3 trade. As I
TP's
said,
already
this
coming in.
is already very low, but yeah, it is 2 rush. Making an appearance, the rest of the lineup looking to try and intercept in case there was some greedy jungle farming going on.
alright. Exotic Deer realizes that the time's not really on their side, and he immediately builds a Basher instead of trying to go for the Aghanim's. The Aghanim's could be the better play in the long run if they, with a split push. But ultimately, I don't think Singularity has a time to look for split push right now, because APB, with this Aegis still, they might just go for another high ground push. And Singularity need to be prepared for that and try and invest as much as possible into valuable items that could help in the team fight.
Well, Puck is going for Dagon. Is that what they need? Okay,
Puck is
Puck
getting
actually going to
initiated.
die again here. Just Hawkshot with a follow-up, but you just bring him down.
Again, these team
Lincoln's
wards,
you'll be damned. It's not enough.
Singularity just never caught on to where the hell APB has the wards, which is kind of crazy because these wards aren't even that uncommon. They're just very simple wards.
Yeah. They're gonna go for the bear. Xardia has another one for this particular fight. We're trying their best to keep him alive anyway, even using the shrine.
Well, you definitely want
If
to.
they can help it, yeah, you
keep the
want
bear
both
alive.
of them. Now this is a good catch here, but now Little Orb forced us back. Juvash will be kept alive regardless. All the while, Stoy and Pikachu just working away. And these racks buildings. Singularity, yeah, once again, without Puck, how do you engage into this?
You just don't. You probably even have to lose another half a Rex at least. If they engaged without the puck, they would probably lose the fight and lose the game. I think you need to bank on the fact that you can come back from 2 sets of Rex being down.
Kind of frustrating position to be in, but yeah, well, Pikachu is starting to drop low. Of course, he does have the ages, but being able to trigger that without a major fight already going on is a victory in and of itself.
They don't have a crew weapon inside the base anymore. That's a bit awkward.
I think this is far
Midland's
enough
pushing
to break
in,
it, actually.
but yeah. Alright, they're falling back. Puck's back again.
Yep.
They did pretty much everything they wanted to, and I wouldn't be surprised to Singularity immediately smoke up and try and go for a kill here. I think they need to, because right now, if they take an... the reason they keep losing their objectives is because somebody dies and APP is always in a position to immediately take an objective. But if they take a fight towards APP, maybe even in the dire jungle, I'm not even sure, even if they lost the fight, that APP could immediately transition it into an objective.
Yeah.
And they're pinging it out. Guys, they probably have a ward here. But let's just not go there.
They're skirting around the edges. But still, the entirety of APB's lineup in this general area. So Doyle in charge.
Immediately scouted by one rocket.
Yeah. Ugh.
Off all puck. Does he want to go in there? So
You think
three-man call if he wants to. Well, they
Does
see
get
him.
hook shotted. Lincoln's broken here. Does get a few spells off. Now the Aegis actually expired. So the lasso onto Legion Commander, trying to keep him away. Locking everybody down. The clock will caught inside the car, his own cards with the wards. And now Pikachu, though, pops his own BKB, just running circles around him, focusing on Exotic Deer together with Star, and it'll be him down, second down. Now finally the duel comes through onto Nisha. This might just be the end of it all here. Buyback is available for Exotic Deer, but Kato being the next one falling down the drain, and APB, what did they really lose here?
Lost nothing. Literally nothing. I guess the Aegis, but they would have lost the Aegis anyway.
That expired, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It expired. Yeah, and this is sort of what I mentioned earlier. Because they took a fight fairly close to their own base, they could just lose another set of racks now.
To get this bear, and Exotic Deer might as well be dead. And they do, so he doesn't
Patos
have...
is dead as well. I believe Patos
Yeah.
bought back? No, he
This is
escaped.
it.
He escaped.
I mean,
Buzz back now.
he does a buyback, but Exotic Deer, he might as well be dead. He is a glorified melee creep right now. Without his bear.
bear, that's for sure.
So that'll be that bottom side Rex being down. They'll probably
It's-
really focus their tier 2
It's
top.
sort of impressive how much different APP look right now in comparison to the last game. Much more
Yeah.
composed. I think their decision making, even in the mid game, was much better than it was in the last game. And they definitely looked like they actually had a plan in mind. Like, hey guys, we're just gonna farm up these items and then we're gonna crush them. They knew once they had those BKBs, there's nothing that Singularity could do to them, and they bided their time. And also, Singularity just misplayed a lot. I think the fact that they never ever really dewarded these crucial wards just turned against them.
Yep. Well, they're gonna have one more fight left in them. That's really about it. If they cannot make this high ground defense work.
They smoke up.
Well, Pikachu pops the BKB
Oh, the
already. The
puck.
hook shot onto the puck. He does use it off, but still being controlled up. Does get the face shift off. Not another blink. The duel in the side. He intercepting Patos, so that's him down. Already used a buyback. Get the lift on the Pikachu, but he's so tanky at this point. Up against what little damage Singularity have to offer.
bear's
So
back.
just push him all the way back to the base. Star pops the BKB. Gets bashed up by the bear, so that's something.
And the
Now,
bear's
caught inside the
dead again,
cogs.
isn't
That
he?
is DED.
That should
They
be
can't
GG.
even walk outside of the fountain. No fear. I actually got into the high ground, but God,
With the
weaving.
with the Aghanim's.
All right, I didn't even notice that one, but that'll be that. GG, well played is called. And APB tied the series 1-1.
Great game from them. Honestly, much better than the last game. I will say that I do think that Singularity also played much worse than the last game. I think that draft already was much weaker. Even if they hadn't revealed that course early on, I still think the lineup would have been a bit weaker because again, their sole physical damage resource right now was the lone druid, and sure they had the push potential, but I think they would have had to have been ahead by a lot in order to actually execute that. And APP had a solid lineup, which again, the fact that they just had like a stand-in be their captain and drafter was sort of weird, but it worked out for them, and they had a good draft, very solid laning, or a more solid laning stage than before, and they did it. Who's your end line MVP of this game?
It's kind of also a hard call because pretty much a team effort. It's kind of hard to not give it to Pikachu though, isn't it?
Probably. Actually, I actually probably would give it to. I personally would probably give it to Seedoy because the guy actually, he farmed really well. He pretty much played objective gaming both with his item build and with the way that he moved around the map. When he was pushing tier 1 by himself, bottom, even top. And I don't know. I thought the early Diffusal Blade was just a great pickup. He was almost always going to kill anybody really with it. And I do think that Pikachu sort of played well in the game, but I thought his laning stage was actually kind of weak. He shouldn't have died like 2 times at least.
Well, yeah, I can go along with that. With Sedoy, it's a hard hero to make really big flashy plays with.
True.
I guess so. It's maybe influencing me a little bit. But I can see. I mean, he has a very similar scoreline, even one less depth than Pikachu. So it's I can go with that. Give it to him. An MVP audio play of the game.
So we've made it to a game 3. APB managed to turn it up a little bit more. Played what you guys described as a composition that didn't really need its ultimates to get the job done. They could just use their regular abilities, get more pickoffs, actually play throughout the early and the mid game. So we'll be going into game 3 momentarily, guys. We're going to go into a short break, but we'll be back with Blood in the Streets. Upper bracket round 2 semifinals between no, there's APB versus Singularity. I'm not even gonna try and decipher what they were going for with their name. I'm the Source, joining me is Skim Gaming and Dragon Drop Dodo. We'll be back in just a few minutes, guys.
To Boston, lives in a world she's lost in, victim of compromise. He's staring at her Aberdeen heart, London eyes, Glasgow bones. She's whistling the catacombs, a paradox. He's in the statue in a marble block. He's in love with the girl that time forgot. She just shakes her wrist. She's falling too far with salt in her scars. Won't let it taste her tears. She's falling too far. The girl that time forgot. girl that time forgot. She just shakes her ears. She's falling too far with salt in her scars. Won't let it taste her tears. She's falling too far. The girl that time forgot. That time forgot. The girl that time You let her go, catacombs. You let her go, let her go, catacombs. You let her go. She just shakes her ears. She's falling too far with salt in her scars. Won't let it taste her tears. She's falling too far.
Are you tired of your streams or voice chats sounding like this?
Do you want the comfort and quality of high-end headphones without sacrificing microphone quality? Antline's Mod Mic 5 is the perfect solution. Their dual capsule microphone attaches easily and securely to your existing headphones and fits within any setup thanks to the modular cable system. It comes with a cable wrap to protect your wires, an optional inline mute switch, and sounds a little something like this. Check the link in the video description to learn more.
Alright folks, we are back with Game 3 between APB and Singularity here at the Blood in the Streets Dota 2 Championship, brought to you guys by FirstBlood.io and Antline Audio. I'm the source, joining me is Skim Gaming and Drag and Drop Dota, and we have just stepped into the draft. A couple of bands have gone through, but nothing. Ooh, Night Stalker. That was quick.
I've seen a few of the heroes that we've seen in the first two games banned out. Dream Protector, the pack now as well. Singularity pulled out Phoenicia and did a really good job on it in my eyes. Even though it's maybe he went a little bit too ham more often than he should, but anyway. Magnus and Lycan, Nightstalker also coming through, one of the more banned heroes in the qualifiers for TI.
The most banned, actually.
Most banned, yeah. So didn't quite have the exact numbers in front of me, but yeah, it's very popular hero these days for good reason, and a very hard hero to deal with.
It is, yeah. Like I said, there are so many reasons why you would want to ban the Night Stalker. He just, in general, provides a lot of map control with his ultimate, but also with his third ability that provides him with flying vision. He's just very strong in the early game as well. You know, when the first nighttime hits, he can be a big nuisance with his nuke, with his silence. And overall, I think teams started to appreciate the fact that there are more items to build on him. He can be a very utility core sort of orientated hero with pipe, with halberd. All these items are are starting to be very popular with him. So he is definitely worthy of a first ban. But Singularity, they deemed the Clockwork worthy of a ban. I definitely agree with that. Clockwork, in my opinion, is the more annoying hero, and you just don't want to deal with Wisp. Wisp is just one of those heroes that, in any meta, can just be a game-breaking hero.
Oh yeah.
But again, Singularity go with the course in the first phase, which it's just not that common, and I just don't think it's that great either. You could pick one core. I don't think that's that big of a deal, but picking two cores is just way too telling about what you want to do with your game. Because picking a support late, what does it really, hide the fact that you have a support? Or, I pick a Spirit Breaker support. That just doesn't matter. Doesn't it sure it can change the pace of the early game, but ultimately what you want to accomplish with the game in itself is revealed with the course.
To their credit, though, it's a very good combination, right? Magnus together with the Lycan, especially when you're up against the Night Stalker, so you have more opportunities to get that double effectiveness out of the Howl, which is a big deal for that particular hero. And then you have the Magnus once again to have the Empower buffer, make sure the Lycan farms a little bit faster when he dips into the jungle every once in a while. And I can definitely see that working out. But it also comes down to how the rest of the draft develops now.
Yeah, hopefully they just don't go with a third core again now. I just think that's a mistake to go 3 cores immediately again. As I say that, they go for the Queen of Pain.
Oh, this could be a 4-position Queen of Pain, right?
We've even seen a 5-position Queen of Pain.
5-position, yeah.
That's not bad, I suppose, or it has been done before, but no, it's most likely just going to be Nisha's mid Queen of Pain. He is quite the strong hero, quite the strong player. After all, feels very comfortable on the Queen of Pain. But again, I just don't really see the point of having these 3 cores picked early. Maybe there's something, like you said, Singularity, just figuring out, maybe seeing if this is a dynamic that could work for them. Yeah. Like you said, they did doubt themselves, or Lesage at least doubted himself going into during the playoffs. But
could
still, I think it's very risky.
Yeah, I mean, could this be a hero pool issue? I mean, Singularity, they have the last pick going into this, so that's where most teams would like to just pick the mid hero to make sure you have that favorable matchup. But is it maybe that they feel like the hero pool is not big enough for that position? That if 1 or 2 heroes get banned out.
The thing is, though, they do this for like all the 3 positions, right? They just don't do it only for the Queen of Pain or for the mid. They do it for like all the core positions. And like, I mean, I don't want to flatter Singularity too much or anything, but I would argue that the hero pools on all the positions aren't that small. If anything, I think Exotic Deer has quite a wide hero pool. So I just don't think it's necessarily like a hero pool issue, more so rather than a approach. I think it's just a different approach that they're trying out. I just can't really explain it otherwise. Yeah. But maybe they think this is gonna work. Maybe I don't know. Actually, I just don't know. It feels very weird, because how are they gonna counter the Sven now? Or like how they are getting countered right now with APB's heroes. What are they gonna throw at them? They could, I suppose, pick something like a Shadow Demon. I guess that's a good support against Sven. Sort of.
It's not really a hero these days.
Unpicked in the entire qualifier.
Yeah,
the only hero that's unpicked.
The only hero. Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
I do think it's actually a good hero though, but maybe I'm probably the only one in the world right now.
I think you need a good combo with it, like either Dazzle, or even the Ancient Apparition, right? It's always also something that you can look towards. Cold Feed into Disruption, you automatically get the Cold Feed stun. Ever since Delusion base play was nerfed, the Shadow Demon is complementary hero to that. It's kind of fallen out of favor. But I would still like to see him come back, just maybe on the back of his perch, maybe sprinkle that in up against some of these heroes. Wouldn't be too bad against Sven, right? Just to kite him, if nothing else.
For sure. I don't know. This feels so weird, picking the Lycan and Magnus this early. I really want this to work out for Singularity, but right now I still favor APB's lineup. I think there's a bit more straightforward. They are so far very well rounded between control and team fights, damage, burst, physical damage, both magic and physical damage. So I don't know if they just pick a really strong mid laner here that can deal with the Queen of Pain, maybe like an OD. I do think that APB look very strong on paper right now, and I think OD could work very well here against this entire lineup from Singularity.
Yeah.
It's also not that popular though these days.
Yeah. What other heroes would there be? Do a lot of Queen of Pain. Razor, maybe? This is kind
Razor
of
could
a,
work.
Yeah.
I think it would also, it helps to be a bit tanky against the Queen of Pain and not be as spell reliant as the OD when the silencer does come online.
Yeah.
And Razor also naturally builds into items that are good against the Lycan, like the Halberd and AC even. Ember Spirit. That is actually a great hero here. That's actually a really good hero here. So much burst potential. Very mobile. He does get screwed by the silence, but he can build into items to mitigate that issue. He can build into Lotus Orb. I think Lotus Orb is a fantastic item. Could even go Romantic style if he goes for the the right click Ember Spirit, which is sort of getting a bit more popular again, actually.
Yeah. See it every once in a while. But okay. So it's either to support Zeus or support Quap.
Nah, it's support Zeus. Support Zeus makes
it
more
is,
sense.
yeah.
It provides the vision. You don't really need to deal with. You don't need to buy as many sentries. You have more burst, which is nice against or magic burst against these heroes, which is pretty strong, especially against Sven before he picks up his BKB. It's still
it's still
hurts
like
me.
Yeah.
They
still a
have
classic
zero
hero.
lockdown against the Ember Spirit
Exactly.
outside of RP. They have almost no kiting potential against the Sven, aside from Shadow Dagger. They have no defensive ability against the Bat Rider, even though the Bat Rider was a second pick. They could have picked a defensive hero and be like, all right, we're going to counter him with like Oracle or like Dazzle or whatever. Abaddon even.
Singularity. I feel like they have a very all or nothing lineup, but it depends on having a good early game. Because if they don't, well, Queen of Pain is not going to feel comfortable doing her thing. Silencer and Zeus are going to be food. Lycan, similar position to the co-op, Magnus as well. So, like, if they fall behind early, if they get to a point where they're uncomfortable farming even on their own side of the map, then they just have very few ways of actually outplaying and taking team fights. Because, as I said, they have no control. They have some good magic damage to throw out, but eventually there might be BKBs coming out or what have you. Right? There will be counters. Then it's APB who can just throw out their own combos in their own place, right? You have the Night Stalker who can just scout out 4 Batrider pickoffs. You have an Ember who will just split push and burst people down burst people down with magical damage, and you have Sven who can also provide a ridiculous amount of damage output.
APB looks so much more well-rounded in their lineup and the laning stage as well. Just going into all stages of the game, I feel more well-rounded. There's limited counter potential on the Radiant side, and I don't know, I just can't really put my head to what Singularity is trying to accomplish with the way they draft and the lineups they draft. I think it's a bit greedy, or very greedy, in fact, this lineup right now. Like you said, I think a lot needs to go into their favor to make this work. They have heroes that can get picked off easily because APB have great heroes to, catch a Lycan out of position, to kill the Queen of Pain, even. So I'm very worried for a Singularity. I do think that their lineup has potential if they dominate the laning stage, because then they can sort of like roll out of control. These supports, if they have a good start and if they sort of scale, or if they get a lot of gold and experience, they can sort of become a crucial or a big nuisance. The Zeus, especially as a support, is really very strong. But I don't know. That's just a lot of ifs for a lineup, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it works out. The winner of this game will move on in the upper bracket and face up against Gambit. The loser will have to take it up with Danish Bears in an elimination series. Definitely quite a bit on the line here for these two teams. Afterlife doing better things already.
Bit cheeky that he was able to hide in there the entire time.
That's also another thing. It's none of these two supports can really do anything against it, other than throw a few spells.
I mean, that's going to be the story of this entire game, though. What are these two supports going to do against anybody, really? I'm not even sure if the Global Silence is that great of a spell here.
Ophia's doing the same thing. Look at this shit. Oh no.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do?
It's gotta feel bad.
Poor Lycan is going to miss out on an entire creep wave now because it's behind the tower.
Oh no.
Oh, actually, no, Fear's going to pull it in front of the tower now. This is stupid. This is
silly.
absolutely stupid. And again, like I said, Singularity can't really do anything. They can't. It's not like they can just move towards the mid lane, for example, and be like, "All right, we'll set up a kill here." No, you're Silence on a Zeus. You're not going to get a kill anywhere.
I can't even stack and pull, no, because it's also been blocked out by an ops in the sentry ward. So can't get to experience that way either. I mean, well, maybe they can make something happen to ops. Doi is now being annoyed by Katsor. Now gets stunned up, double stun. Chuvage is there with the chilling touch. Got a little bit of extra damage. Yeah.
This laning stage is honestly awful for the Radiant side. Nisha even is having a rough time mid, which I guess, you know, in CS is still sort of fine, but he's eating through pretty much all of his region now. And once No Fear rotates, you know, once the nighttime hits, I'm pretty sure Nisha is going to die, or it's going to be very difficult for him to survive because they don't have a ward that's pointed towards the bottom side of the map, so he's not even going to see the Night Stalker coming.
Yep. Well, question is going to be whether he gets enough levels to also maybe pick up a point into the crippling fear for the silence. Up against Quap, that's a reasonable skill build for Night Stalker. Once you level 4, but some still opt to go for the second point into Hunter of the Night. Or Hunter in the Night as it's called. But yeah, anyway.
Bottom
Did a little
lane
bit out.
massage. They're getting a bit low. Yeah, what are they really going to do here in this bottom lane? The Bat Rider alone could almost dominate this lane, but with the Night Stalker on top of this, it's going to be really difficult for Singularity.
Oh,
Mid lane,
actually,
they almost
Pikachu.
find Pikachu.
More likely will do the trick, but he's actually faster than the rest of them. No fear comes through, just taking over, making sure Pikachu has enough space to intercept the courier, who has his bottle, so he'll be fine.
Very unfortunate for Singularity that the bottle's just coming in. It was a good attempt with the Invis rune from the Zeus, but ultimately that's just because they had the Invis rune. Otherwise, they would probably never be able to get Pikachu in a situation like this right now. And Nisha's not even close to the bottle because he went for the Null Talisman first, like a double Null Talisman build, which is just standard, but still it hurts him now because he's sort of running out on region. Actually, no, he sent himself a new one. New self and new set of tangos.
It's also very costly though.
Yeah, it's another 200 gold, 250 gold or something, just investing into region.
It's like a complete opposite of game number 1, isn't it? Where it was APB who had the disastrous landing stage.
Sort of. But at the same time, Singularity's lane stage isn't that bad just yet. Nisha is still doing fine in terms of CS. Lycan hasn't died just yet, and in general, I mean, nobody in Singularity's side has died just yet, right? And that was totally different for APB in the first game, where the Disruptor died numerous times, even their carry Venomancer died. They're still getting their experience, so I'd say it's still going fine, but nighttime now hits, and this is where I would get worried, because if he does rotate somewhere, well, he has a lot of killing potential.
It's on level 2 though. Like, normally you want to have hit level 3 by this point, so if the 2 points up into the void, which is a pretty good upgrade in terms of...
He might hit level 3 with this. No, he's not going to get it with Bounty Rune. Close though.
It's like the one bit of an unfortunate part here for this particular hero, but yeah, it's...
Look how this Bat Rider is sitting in the lane, and 3 heroes can't do anything against him. Because they don't know where the Night Stalker is, and even if they knew, I'm not even sure they would be able to do anything, because it's just a Bat Rider. They just don't have any lockdown against him, he can just kill them with Sticky Napalm.
Have to stand and stack and pull as much as they can.
But No Fear has great vision over this.
Yeah. Might be able to
get
get level 3 off of this. Yeah, it's easy for Afterlife. Now there it is. No Fear with the slow onto Alisage. Nice little push back down the early frame break, and Alisage not quite ticking out. No Fear will have to commit a little bit deeper into it, and now it takes a little spell, but nothing will prevent him from finishing up the first blood.
Oh, totally fine.
I can just try on. Oh no, use it. No, it's not used.
It's just a bit silly. That Singularity's Trillion is so useless. Let's just be honest. No, their supports are just not doing anything in this laning stage. If anything, they're just taking away experience from the Lycan right now. Oh, top lane. Can they get the Magnus? No. Patos tried to go for a kill on Shuvash.
Well, yeah, look at Nofi. He's just standing there. Katsu's tickling him.
If at all. If
Oh,
he even
man.
notices it.
Complete want on the Bat Rider, so he's perfectly prepared for any sort of Zeus spam. Nofi, not so much. Of course, he does have at least 3 range ups to work with.
Nisha's first rotation is going to be really crucial and clutch. He needs to find an opening kill on somebody. Ideally, probably the Bat Rider to delay his blink. If he even goes for it. Actually, he's not even going for it. Straight up anyway. Yeah, but Nisha's... Yeah, look at the mid lane. Nisha is doing so much better in the mid lane now. Yeah, that's just higher levels. And this is the No Talisman build also paying off now because he deals more physical damage. But also the higher levels in his 2 nukes.
Yeah,
makes it difficult for the Ember Spirit to really stay in lane.
Well, you go for the second point into the Shadow Strike for the lanes, so still 1 point off that max level Scream of Pain. On top of that, Sonic Wave.
Smoke with Pikachu, Night Stalker.
Let's get turned into something. There's 2 Remnant charges available. Should be enough burst damage for Exotic D here if they even need it. They can just run him down.
Could chain at least to make it easy. Nope.
Don't want to use that
Queen
mana
even
even.
TP'd in.
Okay.
See, a rotation like this.
Mana, though. Yeah.
A rotation like this, usually you'd say, you know, this is great, and but at least Nisha got a little bit of farm and space mid, but no, because he TP'd down, was so worth it for APB now.
Yep. Are they just relying on the Magnus to at some point just come out and say, "Hey, I've got an RP," and try and turn this game around?
Can't really do anything with just an RP though. He needs a blink for it. Maybe he can do something against the AA? He has an RP, could go for a solo kill maybe. Not with a Night Stalker, right?
Night Stalker, force defensive skew, and now Nofi is still pretty fast on his feet for just a few seconds though. His nighttime just ends.
So the Ember Spirit is Invis.
The Sash just TP's out. Alright, so like Singularity, they could be much further behind than they are, I guess. But that's the only big good thing that we can say about them just yet in this game. Because Nishan, well, he still has to use his ultimate, but now forced to blink away.
Yeah, you definitely have a point. They could definitely be behind more than they are right now. But I think part of that comes down to the Night Stalker not really doing too much in terms of, you know, farm. Otherwise, I do think they're very much pulling ahead on the lane. I guess you could also argue they're giving the Magnus a bit too much. The fact that the Sven rotated this early to get the Ancient stack.
Yeah.
Or mid lane. They found the silence, but not enough. What was the Suns after he used the Spirit to jump away? Yeah, they're definitely giving this Magnus too much. He's level 7. He's getting actually a decent amount of gold as well, and the Sven is just not returning to the lane, which I just don't know why. He could have been here the entire time and just make sure that the Magnus doesn't get anything.
Yep. Well, at the same time, we can easily farm the jungle. We just prioritize the levels on Night Stalker now for the second nighttime. You can get your level 6 before that, so you can extend it a little bit more. I think that seems to be the plan now for APB. With Pikachu at the same time, well, let's take it over mid. Nisha has been able to chip away this tower for quite a decent amount, though. It's something to maybe look forward to for Singularity. Get some extra gold in the pockets of these supports in the cores. But just chipping away at these towers.
This game, it feels so weird because I don't know. The carries are just both sort of like forfeiting the lanes, even though Celoid doesn't have to. They're giving the supports a bit of room and space to farm up, which I think is nice. AA level 6 definitely important, such as the Sun's level 6.
Yeah.
But oh, mid lane, that's a dead Zeus.
It's a very dead Zeus, yeah. It's a Doi. First item after the treads is the Mask of Madness, which allows you to hit quite fast.
Yeah, he took out an Ancient stack with that as well. It's a very strong item to just be very efficient in while farming. And he can, of course, stay there if he wants to disassemble it into different items.
Yep.
I've definitely seen somebody disassemble it for an Echo Saber even.
Yep. But at the same time, it's a very good value item for Sven.
Oh, of course, for
So
sure,
You
100%.
might as well just keep it.
100%. Though he does have the Echo Saber queued up in his inventory right now.
Top lane. Moving from a single Antic Zork DM made a rotation up top. Together with Cat Soul. So linking up with Pathos, maybe just use the threat of the OP to finish off this tower.
I guess this is something that's going into Singularity's favor. The fact that there's no strong D-push on APB's side, aside from the AA ultimate, which I guess he just hit level 6.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's way too close to hit like a big ultimate. He's even TPing now, alright.
Get this out
Yeah.
for free. There was no one else in position to trade. So, yeah, definitely helps out.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Brings Lycan closer to the armlet, so going for this right-clicky build as you would expect.
Magnus halfway to his blink.
Yeah.
Again, I think this Magnus just got way too much, and APB, I guess, also playing a bit too passive. I do realize that they need an item or two on the Bad Rider or in the Ember Spirit before they can really do anything. But I think they could have been more active in the laning stage. The Night Stalker could have made more rotations. The Sven again could have stayed in the lane a bit longer. But they sort of gave Singularity a lot of space to farm, and Singularity's keeping up properly on most tiers anyway.
Well, Zeus maybe he'll also find his own level 6 in the top lane now, just hiding inside the trees. Elisage level 4, so in that department at the very least, they're very far behind.
Oh, top lane Katsur.
Oh, you can
What?
find out.
Oh.
Oh no.
I thought he walked past him. Not sure this Night Stalker can't kill him solo though, especially not with the Magnus and the Silencer coming in.
Some help coming through, so it was a great bait, maybe. No fear. Still pretty fast, of course, but now being nuked down. Another shockwave. We'll connect him. Okay. It's a lot of
Alright.
hate. Nisha jump into Sonic Wave, and it's not sure what's
APB
actually
can
necessary.
re-engage.
are fortified.
Yeah, especially with that big cooldown going down. Pikachu finds the chains onto Pathos. There's still an RP available, so they bunch up on him. They can make something happen that way, but instead he skewers out through the trees. Will also reveal himself. They will be able to track him down.
Lost
And-
150 gold.
Crybaby.
That could have, he's so close to his blink.
Yeah. Pikachu mid lane being annoyed by the silencer. But it's mostly Singularity can annoy them. That was the first ultimate with Suffering Point of Pain to get them the first kill. Like 12-13 minutes into this game number 3.
Nisha's actually not even finishing his Veil. He's gonna go for the Lincolns, which I think makes sense in a way because you don't really want to get caught off guard by the lasso, and Zeus
Also,
is most
the
likely gonna.
silence,
Yeah, of course, all those spells. But Zeus is most likely gonna build into Veil anyway because that's just to support Zeus. So I guess it sort of makes sense. But now his dual no talisman build is sort of because he can't actually transition it into another item.
Yeah.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It makes the progression a little bit slower. But now, oh god, this could have been very dangerous here if he took just a little bit longer to farm this camp. He does dodge that bullet, whether he knew it was coming or not.
This is the first Blink Dagger sort of gank from Afterlife, and he's gonna find a Magnus.
That's good as well. Nisha's there, not a whole lot he can throw out though. R5 still dropping very fast. Silence still on the paddle, so he doesn't actually get to use an LP and power or anything. TP out on the Batrider, Pikachu with the chains, keeping a like in a way, but the rest, the box. Do you want to keep fighting here? No. Just an ordered retreat. Not abandoning anybody.
If Nisha had his ultimate there, that would have been like a 4-man ultimate. It's a bit unfortunate that they just don't have the vision there to really fight properly. And good for his Blink Deck reveal. And oh my god, they smoke up again? That's great play. I think this is great play. I'm not sure Singularity is going to expect this at all, because, I mean, who would, really?
Well, Lesage will find out now at the very least. Still no 6, so no global silence or anything to protect himself or set up for some sort of counterplay. But yeah, it's very least, the rest of this team will be able to walk out of there. But they will lose the first tier 1 tower of the game. Bottom lane, oh, actually second tier 1, as bottom lane has already been claimed.
Queen of Pain has to be careful.
Yep.
Lasso's up in 20.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Oh, showing himself again. See the descent upon Nisha like vultures, but
He went for
starting
the
of the
void
slow
first?
instead of the silence. It's actually not ideal. I don't know why you would ever do that.
I'm confused. To be fair, Void does have a little bit of a longer cast range. I think it's just like a 50 cast range difference. Not 100% sure right now, but still, I
It's
think
tiny,
you
it's very
try and go for this. Yeah, I think you try and go for the silence there. Queen of Pain's Blink does have a bit of an animation as well. I'm pretty sure you could have gotten it, or at the very least, it would have. You know, if you get that, it's a definite kill. But the Void doesn't necessarily ensure a kill.
Well,
Either way,
stick with it.
Magnus does have a blink now. With that, I wouldn't be surprised if Singularity go for their own smoke gank. They definitely need to do something with this lineup right now.
Yeah.
Their supports are getting nothing really, and the Queen of Pain also needs to find a kill.
Thought you had that, didn't you?
Well, 1
Yeah,
and
that's
6,
a smoke.
70 minutes in. Very mellow scoreline, but they're looking to try and fix that now. Will they find anybody though? I mean, maybe if they pressure the
Depends
tower.
what they want to do. They probably want to smoke for the Queen of Pain. Like, oh, we're jumping. Oh, no, never
Going
mind.
straight on Pikachu here, dragging him back in the middle of his team. Global silence, everything be used to ensure that he doesn't go zip out to them. They didn't have one up, but they had no way of knowing.
Radiant's
So that'll be the end of that. The Ice Blast comes through. Lasers too.
are fortified.
Glazes, same thing. The tower should end up falling.
Can still fight this. They have Blink Lasso. I mean, what are they going to do against Blink Lasso?
Blink away.
I guess.
After
He's
he's super
fast, though,
fast,
with
also
drums.
drums. So yeah, Katsu trying to turn around, of course, with Napalm top of him. That's not really going to work. Okay, that was a good bait here. Skewer back onto Nofi. A couple more right clicks will do the trick, and there it is. But what cost? Pathos will join his buddy Zeus
That's
in
brutal.
death. Sadoi, well, he's very tanky at this point. This guy is sitting at 2,660 max health points, 18 minutes into the game.
Oh, that's the ultimate for you. That's an annoying buff, that's for sure. Great rotation or great idea from APB to try and force a fight there, knowing that the 3 ultimates were down. And, APB, they're not as ultimate reliant as Singularity is. Pikachu, though, can they even get him without the global? I don't think so.
Well, with no remnants up, he would have to break that last word to throw it out. And okay.
Oh, Nisha,
So everyone is
so
there,
dead.
Sadoi with his own blink. And he'll get the 1-for-1 trade, I suppose. TP out on Chubash. 1-2.
This guy
Okay.
survived.
Really? I thought he was dead
Nisha
for sure.
survived.
Okay.
Yeah, Nisha survived.
Zeus ultimate here. They're still trying to chase an afterlife. Zardy, of course, he can't fly, unfortunately. So no way to take over. Katsu, what are you doing here? You could just get lassoed. Poor guy.
So, I think Nisha should have died, but I think they, the team it was a great reaction from his teammates, that's for sure, keeping him alive there. But I also think they sort of started paying attention to the other heroes because I think they thought Nisha was going to die anyway.
Top lane up, he used. Not sure if Mrs. Q if he was just trying to get out regardless. That's a big ice blast coming through. And I would have secured the kill if he didn't drop beforehand anyway.
With the god, that's a tower.
Yeah.
God Strength does that for you. Could even try and apply a bit of pressure to the tier 2, maybe? But no, they're going to fall back. Still great though. Nisha did finish off the Ember Spirit. And Ember Spirit, yeah, he's still the second net worth on his team, but he's quite behind Nisha actually, almost 2k. And Nisha it's just another great game from him, to be honest. He just does that on these heroes. The Queen of Pain, the Puck. He's just a great player.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely gonna have to pull a bit of a miracle out of his head here if this game's continuing to go this way. They kind of sort of stopped the bleeding, but not really. APB is still building on their lead. A lot of that is towers, of course, but if you're never going to go across the other side of the map with your Singularity, then You'll never have the chance to equalize that out anyway. Meantime, there's some more ancient stacks for Sven to take.
Yeah, this is a bit of a weird timing for both teams. I wouldn't be surprised if either of them just decided to go for like a smoke gank, especially when I guess Afterlife doesn't need a smoke.
Oh,
But
yeah.
APB definitely as a team should try and just continuously try and go for these kind of kills. Again, they're not as cooldown reliant. They could technically do this even without the lasso. You know, they have the blink Stormhammer from the Sven after all. And with a kill like this, they can just go for objectives, because are they really going to fight with a global silence? I guess he's back at 6 seconds.
The rest of his team coming in from the side, so maybe it would have done something if it wasn't for that ward. I mean, it was the same ward that screwed them over last game.
And they have a Zeus. Oh, thank God.
I'll find it out.
Finally. Yeah, the silencer is only level 7. I didn't even consider that. I was like, yeah, you know what? Without global silence, I'm sure they can, you know, get this tower, like force out rotations or whatever, and then he's only dead for 15 seconds.
It's tactical. Tactical level stoppage.
But again, I do think that APB could always just try and enforce these things. They should probably do this without the Ember Spirit, because the Ember Spirit needs farm. But if they just smoked up with a Sven, I'm pretty sure they could find a kill or two. And that is indeed no, it's not a smoke coming. It's a BKB coming. Hey, with a BKB, even more so than that.
Yeah. They hold all the cards right now. And Singularity, well, looks like the other ones are smoking S5, so that'll work. Can they find the initiation though?
Oh,
At
the
this
Night
point,
Stalker ultimate though.
Oof.
That is such a bad timing for them, and such a good timing from the Night Stalker.
I can't see anything. Oh no. I mean, right now they were split up quite a bit, but now they're all kind of grouping up around this Roche
They
bit.
need the
on
illusion
dark
to
side.
scout out. Oh,
Zeus
this is
ultimate, well,
fake.
would also help. There it is. Now to figure out where everyone is, get the RP onto one, but just BKBs it off here. The damage is still coming through from the ultimate and the right click.
Oh, the crits!
Yeah, that's some big crits. No, the Shrine keeping him alive for a little bit here, but that's still a very angry Wolf looking to try and bring down no fear. He flies into the trees and TP's back out and will die to Zeus and Silencer regardless. The rest of Box running out. Nisha looking to try and make plays here. Finds Afterlife. The damage over time will bring him down, but the burst damage he held in place for came from Pikachu. Or Pikachu. And will trade his own life away. Not sure if that was worth it. Oh God, Ember, he wants more. Maybe not. That was very bold.
Great play from Singularity, scouting out with the illusion and immediately going for the blink RP. It almost looked like they would lose the fight or they would not be able to kill the Sven, but that crit at the end from Exotic Deer was huge with the armlet and the ultimate. A lot of damage done. Overall, APB just was too split in the fight. If they had been closer to one another, I think that they could have potentially turned it around properly. But then because they lost the Sven this early, he wasn't able to dish out any damage or any significant damage anyway. They lost the fight quite significantly. They lost the Sven, they lost the Batrider, and I believe the Night Stalker. Yeah, the Night Stalker died to the Zeus.
Yeah.
So overall, great fight, and this is a great smoke. That was a great smoke gank. But as you can see, APB realized, all right, they used pretty much all their ultimates. We can just go Roche. There's nothing they can really do to stop this. As I say that, Queen of Pain and Zeus blink in here, but still, they just don't have the RP. They don't have global.
Yeah, they can try, but yeah, APB has no reason to really be afraid right now. But there's, if they just let themselves be chipped away at like this, just the Zeus belts across the pit. That's a
What if
different story
Afterlife
entirely.
has the DD? He has the DD rune. If they had given this to Sven, that's probably Roshan.
Yeah.
It's this was great from Singularity to divert them from the Roche. Oh, can they sneak a Roche with the smoke? They have Lycan.
I think they're looking for more kills here. They've got RP back.
No. They're going for the
alright,
Roche.
okay.
This is great. This is
Well, that
actually
works.
great.
That's our ultimate again. This time around, though, just runs right into them. He's trying to fly across and will be successful, but, well, does some damage over time on top of him. Should be able to make it back to base. Yeah, just barely.
Oh, so close, yeah.
Oh, man.
A second later and he would have died.
Afterlife. Doing his own flying. And Singularity also going out of the pit again. Well, I think you put it on the spot earlier. This is a really weird game.
It is a weird game because I think both teams are very scared of one another in some sense. Even though I think they don't necessarily have to be. I certainly don't think APB need to be that scared of them. I will say that, yeah, RP is definitely scary, but once RP is down, I think they can definitely engage them. And well, they might go for this now.
Blink
That's
Lasso
the
there
lasso.
on the silencer. Coming up to the high ground here, follow up stun, but the RP on 2 targets here, 3 targets in fact. Sadoi, last man standing here. They do get the silence in the end, but at what cost? Triple kill for Exotic deal with the Empower. Now Chivage next on the list, Nisha. Well, giving it over to Katsu. I guess.
Yeah, I literally
You
just said
can-
it. I guess RP is something to be scared of. And then he lands the 3-man RP. Great movement here from Patos, and overall just great reaction from Singularity. And this comes back to the fact that Katsor and this Zeus, they deny the vision. You know, the last game they lost because they were never able to see the opponents, and the opponents always had vision over them. But this time around, the opponents, they didn't know. They saw the silencer, but they didn't know that everybody else was around here as well. They just didn't know. They just didn't have the vision. And Singularity, just great reaction. And this team, I want to say it almost shouldn't be able to be ahead like this, but they are. And I think this comes a little bit back to the fact that APP has been paying too much respect to them. I think with the Batrider, with the Sven and the Ember Spirit, Night Stalker, they have a lineup that could just run at them entire time. You know, RP's down now. Just go down a lane and just try and find a pickoff. You don't need the lasso necessarily, but I think they just feel too intimidated now that they lost a team fight, and they potentially fear, all right, nah, we might not just find a kill. We might not be strong enough to get a kill here. But they shouldn't be.
Well, they just lost the entirety of the gold advantage. They gave up in the ages towards the Queen of Pain. It's definitely understandable, but yeah, they just have to play the lineup still. Or they just try to rely on the Sven just becoming super big, but
Speaking of this vision game, the Wolf's also providing a lot of vision here around the map. It's also
Chivage
just
is
really
actually very
great.
dead here. And these blink skewers from Patos. This guy just almost single-handedly helping Singularity just secure kill after kill.
We talked about it in the draft, right? What kind of pick of potential did they have? What kind of control do they have? I guess Magnus is indeed enough for now, anyway. It is sort of silly, but this Magnus alone has been enough in this game. And look, I know we usually talk about this after the game, but it is, in my opinion, very difficult to not crown him MVP Antline MVP right now. Something big has to happen to... I don't know. Patos has been on point this game, really. In the landing stage, he got more than he should have. And then afterwards, he just transitioned into such a carry, pretty much.
It's a very good candidate for that title. Yeah. No, claim tier 1, claim tier 2. They'll probably trade that one for tier 2 top. So it's a question of who blinks first. And well, Singularity they could probably actually go for better trades.
Well, they see the TPs. They see the TPs. That could be troublesome.
It is.
They find the Magnus early.
Be ready. Yeah, they find him with the lasso here. Glow stands up to try and protect him a little bit, but the BKB from Sadoi, he still gets the swipes in. No buyback on the Magnetar. Now Sadoi, next one on the list. Just goes from target to target. Nisha will drop the Aegis. They do finish up the support to the backlines. The Exotic Team Katsu now coming into the fight. Nisha should be able to get the blink off in a little bit. I'm gonna let Sadoi and Pikachu go. 2 for 3 trade in the end with that Aegis respawn.
That could have been much worse for Singularity. Losing the Magnus that early. But still a good fight from APP. They only lost their 2 supports. They got the Magnus. They got the Aegis. That was great. And this is a confidence play that APP need. You know, you need the confidence to realize, all right, we can kill them if we get a better initiation off. And they finally realize, hey, if we take the Magnus down, what do they really have in terms of lockdown? Oh, nothing. I guess we just focus on Magnus now.
Yeah.
Obviously, it isn't that easy because they need the vision on the Magnus. They need to have the information. All right, where is the Magnus? Can we go on him? And just now they had, and it was great awareness from them. I think it was the Night Stalker that actually pinged it out. He's like, "Yo, the Night Stalker's TPing there." So this was pretty great, and they need to find more pickups like that. And again, I do hope they just try and smoke up again and realize, hey, we have everything up again. We're not as cold on the line. Just go in and just try and find a pickup again.
Find the Magnus and everything will be alright.
And they are grouping up again. They do have a smoke on the A, and I hope they smoke up behind the Ember Spirit. Maybe I think that could work out. Maybe with the Ember Spirit, whatever.
So this is in the middle of the jungle here, where Silencer just planted down a ward. For now, they're just babysitting him. And gonna go for the tier 2, but so is Singularity. Perhaps thinking about it, but they're also not sure about the exact positioning right now.
Yeah, but at this point, it's sort of obvious where APB is. Like, why would they not be mid defending? Why is the Ember Spirit so aggressive in this bottom lane?
Yeah.
It's sort of obvious, and yeah, you can see the movement. Elisage pointed out on the map. He's like, "Yo, guys, let's just invade their own jungle. Like, we know that they're here. Let's just go in, pressure the tier 2, and I guess sort of trade." Oh, the Zeus is very far out. Nope, he blinks past the
So
Zeus.
slow, but yeah, it's on the... Oh, he's coming back in? No! Oh, if Katsu knew how close we were to dying there.
By the way,
Now-
great. Oh,
Ice Boss.
paint.
Nisha gets the blink out just in time, and now Zeus will just confirm positioning. Alright,
This has
they're all here, they're
become-
ready to defend.
well, this has become a game of vision. The Bat Rider with the early gem as well, knowing, all right, we need to get rid of these wards, and only 2 wards are standing right now. Both teams are prioritizing this right now. They know that, you know, whoever, like you said earlier, you know, whoever gets the jump first, basically, whoever gets like the better initiation, and that comes down to whoever has the better vision is likely gonna win this game. So
Yeah.
both teams prioritizing this, and this is where the Zeus comes in handy. You don't need a gem; you just have a
Yep.
Zeus.
It's also just using this ultimate just to scout at this point. I mean, it's not the biggest damage output. Falls off super hard. But that's the good thing about having him as a support role. So you don't necessarily rely on him dealing a crazy amount of damage. So just so don't just have the ability to take care of wards everywhere and check for them, but also check for heroes with Thunder God's Wrath.
Yeah, that is a strong ability that, you know, you don't necessarily need the damage from it. You just want the vision from it.
Oh no! Nisha, he had the Orchid with his silence the creep. Then the global silence came out too late.
It's a bit awkward with the global
Gotta lay
summons
low,
down.
yeah. He'll lay
I
low
wouldn't
for
be
2
sup-
minutes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if APB see this as a sign to go for something. Yep.
Might
There
be in
we
a good
go.
position here. They find the chains on Zeus, forced to the side,
There's the
so
Yulz.
Yulz have to delay, but there it is. The lasso here on the big target in the back, then burst down the Magnus. This time around, though, he does have buyback at the very least, so they will be able to defend high ground. But still, a huge victory for APB.
The Magnus should have just not let the Zeus die. It's difficult because in sometimes you just think to yourself, you know, maybe I can help him with this. Maybe I can delay something, but yeah. So
Double
by that,
chains, double stun there, 4-star forward here on the Queen of Pain. Yulz will stuff up into the air. Nisha will be able to blink back, but buyback forced out. Yeah, APB. They can just take it slow, just don't overextend up against the RP. They realize, alright, Magnus, it helped them once to get back into the game. We're not going to let that happen again.
yeah, great composure from APB, realizing this buyback is as good as it gets right now, and just don't give them an inch. If you give them an inch, they can, you know, maybe have a BKB on the Magnus, for example, or maybe a refresher. So you definitely don't want to give them that inch, and they just fall back. Again, they can just probably wait it out again, wait for a mistake from Singularity or another opening where you find the Magnus. If you kill the Magnus down, he doesn't have buyback. That might just be Rax, or at least Roshan and Aegis.
Yeah.
And-
Till then you can start working on your items. Night
Yeah.
Stalker is going for the Pipe of Insight. And forced out on the Bat Rider is going for his own BKB. Sedoy going straight for the Bloodthorn now. When it comes to BKBs, Lycan just finish this off.
Oh, that's good. He definitely needs it. But at the same time, you know, yeah, you need those BKBs. Oh, smokes, they might clash on top of one another.
Right now, Singularity have the high ground advantage here. And Nisha is just running right in. They confirm the positioning with the Zeus ult. Don't quite find the job, but now no fear. While he's scouting, Afterlife ready to catch up. They find the Shades and Magnus. Global Silence not giving enough to protect him. There it is. The Magnus dies first once again. Exordia might almost get a couple trades off here because he's still holding on to the overpower here. They do get the stance of an Ember Spirit. You'll Scepter will perch that right off. And the Chainsaw Lycan, whose ultimate has expired, means that he will not be able to actually finish any one of these kills that he started.
And the Night Stalker proved yet again to be too tanky with the Hood of Defiance up, and of course with the Shrine. There's nothing they can do really, and this is just great play from APB. Fortunately for Singularity, they took this fight very deep, like in enemy lines, pretty much. If they had taken this fight closer to their own base, potentially this is like a tier 3 tower or something. And luckily they also dealt enough damage so that APB couldn't immediately go for Roche. They will go for Roche now, or they will... I think they will try to go for Roche, but they shouldn't because Magnus is up in 10 seconds. They seemed indecisive. Like, do we go for Roche? Do we? Alright, we're not going for Roche. Magnus is up in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is... I guess this is also the nature of Singularity's lineup, though. Even though they lose team fights like this, they're still very much in the game. 1 RP, and they can clean up house.
It's a good and a bad thing, because, well, if you get the RP, obviously you...
Right.
Yeah, as you said, you win. You get something really good going your way, but if you don't find it, then your lineup just feels so shallow.
Certainly with this support duo. I do think, look, I know I've been shitting on this support duo, not necessarily the players, but rather the heroes, a lot in this game. But I do think they've been playing a good game for what they are. But they're not enough. Like, these heroes are just not that great in this scenario. Oh no, Magnus again!
Not again! And there, commit for it. Double, triple remnant, or whatever that was for Pikachu. There's a haste rune going as well. Look for another target. It's Cats or just a collateral on the side. Oh, just going from bad to worse. No creep wave though, immediately in vicinity, apart from the bottom.
The fortunate thing for them, the fact there was no creep wave right next to the tower. But it is a Roshan and an Aegis, and with that, maybe a tier 2 tower.
Yeah, what is to stop APB from just waiting for the cooldowns and then going high ground with that? They will have another God Strength in like, what, 60 seconds? It's the longest cooldown they have to wait on.
Well, Magnus is up in 10 seconds again. That is definitely worrying. You don't really want to go high ground, you know, it's like a choke point, and that is where Singularity, with their nukes as well, can become quite a nuisance. You do have the Sven to sort of siege high ground, but that is pretty much it. And there's a lot of sort of easy nukes to throw out. So, if anything, go for the tier 2. Singularity unlikely to defend it. Maybe they will be, but you can test out the waters a little bit there.
Yeah. Once again, they have these good vision wards on the outside.
They really need more lockdown in Singularity's side. They cannot control this Ember Spirit in the team fight anymore, because if he does get silenced, he just uses himself. Let's be done with it. There's a Bloodthorn now on Sven.
Yeah. Had that for a little bit here. He's sitting on another 4.4k gold. This guy's rich as hell. Nisha sort of keeping up. But only sort of. He could finish up the Shiva's card if he had access to the secret shop. But at this point, you also need to hold on to buyback.
Want buyback for sure. Especially the way that Nisha likes to play, he can definitely get caught off guard. And right now, you can tell Singularity is just very wary of the fact that, you know, they can get picked off very easily. Again, we highlighted this during the draft. They don't have anything against the lasso. If somebody does get lassoed, what do? They could, I guess, Yold's the Bad Rider? That's pretty much it.
Not anymore, you can't.
Well,
it's a BKB coming, so... Well, let's just up him, or maybe hit him before BKB comes out, but Chuvash, well, I guess Lotus Orb from a friend. What's his zone? That's his own Lotus Orb, alright. Go for that instead of the Aghanim Scepter, also probably quite useful against these silences coming through.
Yeah, against the silences is very strong, and you know, if the Queen of Pain ever picks up a Hex, like the sort of like the only disabled they would have, then that's not an ultimate. They would also have the Lotus Orb for that.
Well, All 3 lanes being pressured in. APB setting up mid primarily. All's gonna work away at the bottom lane, you presume, but other than that, just always on the lookout for these pickouts. They only see Nisha here. No Fear needs to fly again in a couple of seconds. Or maybe just land the ice blast, and it also works. Not nighttime, so it's a bit of an unfortunate circumstance. But the tower should still end up falling here. This aftermath from Sven. There it is. The RP onto 2. Big opportunity. Global starts to follow. And they do throw the damage. They will bring down the Aegis. Afterlife with the BKB. Not protecting him against the right clicks. They will zone the rest of them away. But Sidor with the blink out. On the run. Here, Pikachu still with the chains. Keeping them away too. Now the BKB. Just to make sure. But now Nisha, what are you doing here? Sidor is still himself decently hard here, blink forward into the backlash, but did get grace for the ultimate from the AA. He gets brought down. Sidor, well, he'll die a second time, but what cost? Pikachu eats the chase. Able to keep himself alive after cleaning through the Queen of Pain. This is not even over yet. Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was... Yeah, not actually too bad.
This was actually not that bad. If Nisha hadn't TP'd in, blinked in there, that aggressive TPs. They want this. They want this Ember Spirit.
They really do. It doesn't have a render up. Only just now come off cooldown even, so they will be able to finish him off too. And well, Nightstalker showing himself. He's flying across the river. That'll be the end of that.
Gotta say, once again, great OP. Exotic Deer also just doing a lot of work in the team fight. Important Diffusal Blade pickup, by the way. Very strong against them. Oh, again, if Nisha hadn't blinked in there, that could have been a strong team fight, really. They would have only lost the Magnus, I think, in return for, what, the Bad Rider, the Sven, and now the Ember Spirit. But maybe a little bit overconfident, trying to, go for those 2 kills.
Yeah.
Overall, though, they only lost to tier 3. It's still strong, but unfortunately, they can't really convert it into any objective. They're still behind by 7k. They don't really have any map control. They don't have any wards. They did get the kill in the Bad Rider, but they didn't get the gem because I believe that Nightstalker picked it up and ran away with it.
Yeah. Back in the hands of the bad now. Alright.
Singularity,
there are signs of life for them.
Oh, for sure. There's signs of life, but I think they should try and look for a fight outside the base. Try and fight inside the enemy jungle, perhaps. Because then you can transition it into a tower push, right? If the lanes are pushed in like that. Maybe, I guess, at the tier 2? Oh my god. this Lycan is not kidding around.
It's quite a bit of damage, and that's without his ultimate form. He's at like, what, 500 almost?
With them power, yeah. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Well, they have the damage. I've seen it in teamfights too. Whenever Exotic Deer could just Hansen somebody, you would have been able to chomp them down, any hero really, in a couple of swipes. But so far, without the control, you have a very hard time actually keeping close to people.
It's going to be difficult though because AA is already building towards the Heaven's Halberd,
Yeah.
and once he has that completed, they can definitely cut around this Lycan in those team fights.
AC now done as well on Sven, so that'll be an extra layer of difficulty. That'll also help them, of course, the aggressive pushing.
Nisha has to be careful. If he shows himself here mid, he might get picked off. Oh, no.
Oh, Patos gets the IP only on one, but he gets last up. He's going to go for the skewer here. Might still be able to find out Nightstalker. Slowed down, right clicks, ultimate here, but he's still alive. He's just way too tanky. And, well, Nisha, Exotic Deer, they're going in deep here and wants to get this cheat apparition, and they do. Global Silence comes to try and give Nisha some way to survive, but the right clicks are still there. The roots coming in just as Global Silence ended, preventing the blink out, so it's a secondary casualty only for an ancient apparition.
Both have buyback though, so they're not going to lose the Rex out of this, but they might be forced to use their buybacks. Nisha probably will have to. I just don't know why they commit that much to a Nightstalker. The Magnus RP, that's excusable. He tried to get both the Nightstalker and the Bad Rider, obviously. But then Nisha tried to commit so much for just the Nightstalker.
Yep.
The tanking Nightstalker as well, solo Crescent Pipe.
Oh, the lasso, it's not a good start. It's only on the Zeus. Not even getting him. What the hell is going on? Stoy, okay, has to blink after him to finish that one off, but now Exotic Dia gets stunned up and now right click down, he will fall. Buyback from Zeus, Nisha, and Exotic Dia still holding on to it for now. Oh, until now, I should say. Oh god, Pikachu, triple kill now, but he's out of remnants. Slowed down by Exotic Dia, pops a BKB, has to wait a little bit thanks to the Ult Scepter now. Changes focus on Stoy is very, very low indeed, and
He gets
well,
stunned
no
up.
BKB on Lycan. Gets down, Nisha.
Oh, Sven.
You didn't know. If you just knew.
And then that
Cut out of the
still
trees.
causing trouble in the
Stalker.
base.
That's another kill on the castle. It's a dieback for him. They might be able to get this one now. He's just steeping out. Alright.
That is the worst consolation prize I've ever seen. They lose the Rax mid. They are forced to buy back on the Lycan. They bought back on the Zeus. They only get the Night Stalker.
They also bought back on Queen of Pain at the end.
Oh my god, he actually did. You're right. That is awful.
So
And yeah, 17k net worth now advantage for APB.
the only thing they
Sven is a
gained off of
monster.
that is not losing the game right then and there, because they still
Yeah.
lost the Rax. This is... And Roshan's back up again. This might just be the death blow. You have to let that go, and especially if they let Exotic Gear go here. Yeah, P comes through onto 2. Exotic Gear can start right-clicking away now, but a man fight up against Sadoye with the God Strength going. He's not winning this one, especially not with the help coming through from Pikachu. Let's die back on 1. They're going for the next one. Silencer down for 50 seconds. Pathos, that's the last
see the-
buyback on the Radiant side, so they
see the
realize it
campaign as
too.
well?
They smoke up. They want to find more. They want to end this game with just one more pick off on either Magnus or Queen of Pain. That's all it takes. Nisha showing himself. Oh, blink immediately here. Pikachu's blink is being kept on cooldown. Pathos gets a skew back at Chavash. Force off, not quite to the low ground, so he'll probably end up dying. That'll be the end of the push, regardless. That Goldie just keeps growing. The cores.
No
just
fear,
dying
just
for
brought
AKB.
a self with him to heal up Sidoy. That is
That's
good
teamwork.
support play. Earn him up again, dude. You have 2 earn charges. Go for it. Alright, Bad Rider has Lasso up again. And he
Oh.
finds Magnus for the
Always
100th
on the
time.
right target. Yeah. Well, this might just be the end of it. Nisha doesn't even have an ultimate to throw. Not that it would have mattered too much anyway at this point. Katsuo caught with the chains. Bursted down. The stun will be blocked by the Lincolns. The silence will not. Now it's sitting there on the shrine. Yulesing, try and go for the blink out. Another Yules comes through. BKB, follow-up stun.
It's probably GG.
This is GG.
110 seconds, no buyback.
Yeah.
They're gonna lose at least another set of racks. Sure, Magnus Lycan will be up in what 45 seconds. I guess Lycan.
Oh, no. That's a Fields Batman right there. I don't know what they're not calling it, but they're still coming back from this game.
Then, yeah, they might just try and look for one last resort. Maybe with a good RP. No.
Well,
Huh?
didn't actually do damage to Exotic here, so
Oh, that crit.
gets one. Now out of BKB time, so that'll be that.
It is definitely over now. Singularity, very unfortunate for them, but ultimately APB just fought better. I do think it comes back to the draft a little bit as well. I think Singularity put themselves in a losing position with this draft, and I think we pointed out sufficiently now that they were solely reliant on this Magnus in every engagement.
Yep. Well, once again, Singularity show that best of threes. It's a bit of a different beast than best of ones out of the group stage. I get the RP on Sadoy all the way back into the fountain, so they'll be able to get that kill. Fly back into the TP, and there it is. Finally,
GG's
is
called.
GG well played, and that'll mean that APB, they're moving on to face up against Gambit in the upper bracket.
It is sort of, I don't know the word to describe it, but the fact that APB lose the first game, and then they decide, you know what? Let's just let our stand-in be the captain or the drafter, and then suddenly they look so much better. But at the same time, Singularity decided, from the first game onwards, hey, let's just pick our course in the first 3 picks.
Yeah.
That is a great idea. No, it hasn't worked out. It's not only the draft though. I do think that Singularity also played significantly worse in both games. I do think a lot of decisions that they made were not on top, especially in the second game. We discussed that already. The fact that they just never had any vision around the map, and they constantly lost out to like 2 wards basically in the same spot as well. Overall, though, I don't want to take anything away from APB. I do think that they played significantly better. They were much more composed. They had a better draft than before. They had better execution than before in the landing stage, especially. And then also just overall great decision making in the last game, especially.
Yep.
All right. So APB falls Singularity, APB wins. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, my graphic was messed up because it auto updated, and I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. So,
all right.
APB will come away with the victory. They will move on to face Gambit in the upper bracket winners finals, and Singularity will drop down to play Danish Bears, which is, as we said earlier, not the best situation for them. Danish Bears is a strong team, and should be still in good spirits even after the international qualifiers. Who would you guys say is your MVP of the series? Because it sounded like it was gonna be Patos, and then just lasso after lasso.
Still think he probably played the best out of his entire team, but I probably have to. I'd probably give it to Afterlife. Actually, look at his assists, 28 assists. They always found the right initiation on the Magnus after, not always, but after a while they realized, all right, we just need to go into Magnus.
Captain Afterlife.
Captain Afterlife.
The stand-in, the ringer.
The stand-in.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It's the same point I want to make. I mean, if you wanted to give the MVP to Patos if Singularity won, then kind of have to give it to Afterlife for just preventing that from happening every single time. Because just turning down the best player in this game just netted them the win, or was a huge contributing factor. Just find the blade glass every single time, bursting him down. So for this game, I also want to give it to Afterlife.
All right. So, and with that, that'll close out our broadcast for the day, guys. Thank you for joining us. I'm the Source, and thanks to Skim Gaming, Drag and Drop Dota for bringing you guys that great commentary. We will be back as soon as the next match is scheduled. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys follow firstblood.io on Twitter, and you guys will get all the updates on the matches as well as all the other stuff they have going on. Thank you to Antlion Audio for providing us with the mod mics, the microphones you guys see.
Great mics, by the way.
Yeah, that we've been using for this broadcast. And we will catch you guys later. Thanks again for watching. It's the First Blood Dota 2 the Blood in the Streets Dota 2 Championship brought to you guys by First Blood and Antlion Audio. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.